Nights like tonight always require a little extra. Here is the unique delivery of the game ball at Asheville High. Yes, it's going to be Reynolds, Asheville momentarily, but you got to have that, right, Tom?
Yes, you can't play without that football. Heroes night. It's going to be a great night here at the ballpark.
Yeah, we are certainly paying tribute to those heroes. That's certainly not how they hope the night goes when all is said and done.
Man.
But the football in good hands, and we are just about ready to kick it off between these two. Let's go ahead and dive in with our Spartanburg Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram keys to the game.
Well, I think take control early. We talked about the last time these two teams played 6-5, and that was a game that Asheville won. It was 13-12. Reynolds the last time they were here. So I think that they've been on the road a lot. They've been good on the road. They've lost a couple of games. I think take that mentality. And then in terms for Asheville, it's execution over emotion, talking to their team and their coaching staff. Up front play, talked with you about that. The young offensive line and on the defensive line as well could come down to what the lines play like here tonight.
He said it over and over again. This is a young team, but we know with the athletes that always exist at Asheville High, a very high ceiling. And of course, you know what the expectations always are related to Reynolds. And when these two get together, those who grew up in this area, those who've been in this area for any length of time, we don't have to tell you what it means. And just about ready for the kickoff is standing over top of the football is Seth Stein, and the junior will put a foot into it. And a little looping kick, going to be fair caught at the 32-yard line, and that is where Reynolds will take over, as that is fair caught by Akeem. Think about this, Tom. Toss won by Asheville. They opted to, as is so often the case, defer. So they'll have their crack at it in the second half, and we'll see this Reynolds offense first. Rockets under the direction of Hayden Craig.
Yeah, he's a young man that's growing up at the quarterback position. Behind him, he's got a good running back in Tyvon Patterson. Wide receiver Ty Johnson, a touchdown last week, and it is anchored up front with the right tackle, Brendan Poole.
Top performer on this squad, one of those in Western North Carolina, rolls out, goes far side. It's going to be Rumball, who is going to be over near the 40-41-yard line. Well, you start to look at the rest of the surrounding cast now. You think about who all will be contributors for Reynolds tonight. Who do you highlight?
Yeah, you take a look at Reynolds there. We talked a little bit about the offensive output. They have 33 per game. We talked about Ty Johnson there. The offensive line is a veteran group up front. And Tyvon Patterson is another young man that'll really do a good job.
Yeah, Tyvon Patterson, 9 total touchdowns to pace the squad when you take a look at what has happened for Reynolds on the year. And here's quick flag. You know, you have to get those jitters out early. We talk about it, Tom, in the early part of the season, but it's certainly also true in the early part of a rivalry game.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, when there's a 5-yard penalty there, and I do believe we talked about quick start early. There have been tough ball games here the last couple of times. Reynolds had dominated for the most part in 2014 since Asheville had won prior to a couple of years ago. So I think in this regard, try to take control of it if you can for Reynolds.
Hendersonville Family Dental first down after the penalty, and before the Hendersonville Family Dental first down play. Whistles blow once more as they go to work just atop that Cougars logo, and it's going to be against Reynolds, so this will back the Rockets up just a little bit. You know, we've seen Shane Laws over and over again in these contests year after year. You think about what his team brings to the table tonight as they have their first offensive possession. Tom, talk a little bit about his expectations for this squad.
Well, they've gotten better and better as the season's gone on. They average 33 points per game, 115 rushing, 158.3. They have been passing, and they're balanced offensively, and I think they've developed throughout the course of the season thus far, 6 games in.
Well, a number of different weapons he'll use, as you said. And here is Tyvon Patterson. Patterson at 5'8", 160. He is listed as both a wide receiver and a DB on the roster. And we talked about so much youth on the Asheville side of things. He's young as well. Got plenty of time to grow up into his role. Here's the defense trying to stop he and the Rockets. Here's a look at the entire roster defensively for Asheville.
Yeah, it starts with the defensive end, Renton Hansford, you see there. He is a transfer from Washington. He's headed to Montana. Linebacker Ben Bevins and also Noah Shaw, a couple of outstanding players there, 1 and 2 tackles, and the strong safety, Kareem Williams, will head that secondary.
Keep it on the ground, and that's up near the 45, and that's about all, back near the original line of scrimmage. Did I hear you right? Montana, that's a long way from home.
It is. I mean, he transferred in from Washington, and we talked with the coach Radford about that this week, and he had been at App State and knew what the atmosphere was like at Montana State. You get out there, you may not know, but, man, it is fantastic.
Play a little football out that way.
You know what? And it's snowing and it's cold, and I was going to say frozen tundra, but maybe frozen rubber pellets, maybe.
Well, you get that. I'm traveling up here to the nation's capital not long ago, saw a Grizz hat. So they know a little bit about what it takes to support their football teams up that direction. This is tossed underneath, trying to find something in open real estate, but it is not to be. That toss was in the direction of Christian Lewis. Lewis is 6 foot tight end linebacker. He's one of the seniors on this Rocket squad, but he's going to come up well shy of the line to make, and here comes the kicking unit at the 50-yard line, almost dead even.
Yeah, good start there. They set it up, let him come in, and look at Noah Shaw's going to make that tackle. The weak side linebacker, 6'1", 191, a senior, and a young man coming back from a year ago. I mentioned he and Bevins in the middle there are very good.
Yeah, Shaw, tremendous job with a lot of open real estate all around him on both sides to snuff out this drive. So after deferring following winning the toss, Asheville will see Reynolds' first possession go by the wayside, and it's going to bounce back in a favorable fashion for the Cougars before it is blown dead at the 11-yard line. That is where Asheville will take over. And Tom, we now get to see the sophomore work his way out onto the field. Sophomore QB at the helm of this Cougars squad. What can you tell us about the young man who will take care of business here after that 39-yard punt?
Yeah, 5'11", 176. He's a sophomore. He's thrown 4 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 155 per game. But you need to know that he started last year as a freshman and expanding the playbook a little bit more this year. And Coach really likes what he brings to the table.
Well, Meek Slidell directing traffic before he gets ready to take that first snap. And now he looks like he has everyone in order. And the first option he will have is to give to Kaheem Plummer. And Plummer's taking part of the pile with him. That's a first down gain that Asheville will take all night long. You give a lot of credit to the big guys up front. Let's go ahead and take a look at their names and give a little praise to that offensive line and the surrounding cast for Asheville.
Well, you talked about Plummer there as well, and Ellis behind him and Nick Williams, but that offensive line, they are young. 2 juniors, in fact, both guards, and they're twins, Katzen and Princeton Johnny. So they're young up front, a couple of sophomores and a freshman as well. And the slot back, C.J. Morgan, can be a productive skill position player out of the edge.
Well, we work our way forward here on the initial drive for Asheville. How about a little screen set up, far side? Able to slip out of the first tackle and work his way into open spaces up the sideline is Jeremiah Jones. And Jones going to have the first down and a whole bunch more for the Cougars.
Yeah, really nice job to get away from the tackle. He was there and in position, but went up high and bounced off him, missed another one up the sideline. A good start offensively.
Say he stepped out of bounds at the 25-yard line. Kept on going for good measure just in case, but that's still enough for a Hendersonville Family Dental first down. And on this first down play, let's look at the AC Reynolds defensive starting lineup.
Well, it's anchored up front by defensive end Cam Smith. The nose tackle is Dalen Harper right by him as well. Middle linebacker is Brandon Guest outstanding. Into the secondary, Austin Warwick is the strong safety, will anchor that group back there.
Dalen Harper, an opposing figure, as you saw there, as he cast shadows on the offensive line for Asheville, and he and that group up front able to get a really good push, as you see 2-5 right in the thick of things. It's going to be from behind the sticks. The second down play will come. Here's how much penetration there was into the backfield for Reynolds.
Well, and you're talking about that young offensive line we were visiting with Coach about, and that's going to be one of the critical situations and one of the keys to the game tonight, the way they play.
Well, freshly underway in this key contest between these two rivals by proximity, rivals by history, rivals on so many levels, and under the beautiful venue that is Asheville High, we watch it transpire once more. Boy, that nearly stayed up long enough to be intercepted on the far side. A valiant effort to dive for it over there, but it stayed just out of the reach of the defender for Reynolds. Take a look at this. After it was tipped up, that almost stayed up there.
Tell you, a really good defensive job to make that read and break on the ball and get the hand out there and knock it away. That's the freshman, Zion Akeem, a very familiar name, and Reynolds football history.
And Angulo nearly able to get underneath it as well and make the interception there. But you said it. That is a name that you're used to hearing called when you see the green and white on the road. Everything trimmed up in that trademark yellow for AC Reynolds. Here is, as the green and gold tries to pursue one more time, little toss out far side. Able to sidestep the initial tackler and get up across the 30-yard line. That's about all that is going to be there for Nick Williams. Another one of those seniors getting involved early for the Cougars. Not a lot of seniors on this Cougars squad, but they will rely heavily upon the ones they have.
Yeah, just 12 in all. And again, if you're Reynolds, another missed tackle on the open field, 5 more. Yeah, talking with Coach Red this week, and it's a small group. He loves this group. This is his 4th year. He came in with him. It's a COVID year and hung with it, only 12. But back of that, you've got good numbers at the next level with the junior, sophomores, and the freshmen.
Well, and he says it with a smile on his face, Tom. This is my COVID class, he said to us. And he said, I say that because of the way they've handled themselves and stayed with us to the end of things here in their playing careers. And they stay with the end of this play. How about the coverage on the kick? Very little return will be available. Noah Shaw and company making sure that both teams have touched it once. Nothing on the board between the Cougars and the Rockets.
Bojangles is a proud sponsor of Friday Night Rivals. It's not just football season, it's tailgate season. Head to Bojangles and order your tailgate box today. And tailgate like a legend. It's Bo time.
Well, it is a MAC critical contest tonight. Very difficult to win the Mountain Athletic Conference if you are not successful in this game, and that's true year in and year out. Here's a look at where things sit coming into tonight.
Man, you take a look at a T.C. Robertson team that wasn't very good a couple years ago. They switched things. They're outstanding right now. They're home next week with Asheville. They've also got this A.C. Reynolds team at home this year as well. It's going to be good up top.
Critical for Asheville. We said it's some momentum for Asheville, Tom, coming off of success to begin the conference portion. They're trying to wade their way into it. You want to have some positives to build upon coming into a night like tonight, but the lift a win in this game would provide, hard to put into words.
Well, if you go back to the win 6-5 2 years ago,
yes.
And we had it on My 40, and it propelled them to the championship at that point in the conference. And this is a huge game in the league here tonight. There are a lot of big ones coming up, but if you can get this one, you have an opportunity maybe to get that championship.
What'd you learn from these two teams on that first drive a moment ago? What do you expect to see adjustment-wise after that first touch of the football?
Well, I think from A.C. Reynolds standpoint, they need to tackle maybe a little bit better after the catch and some contact there. But they tried a number of different things. They tried to get the running back involved. They threw the screen pass over the middle, and I think Asheville's defense did a pretty good job of containing that. And both eventually there was some movement, I think, on both sides, but both eventually forced the punt to begin things.
You wonder how long you're going to see Hayden Craig on the ground tonight. When will they use him in that vein? How often will he go that direction? Will he be effective? Here going to the skies, and he's got plenty of room out near the boundary, and that's going to be caught over here. And a nice catch as he connects with Rumbo. Wesley Rumbo, told you 6', 165. He's in his senior campaign. And boy, did he find a nice spot to kind of shut down that route and reels it in.
Yeah, look, he goes up high points the ball, catches with his hands. I mean, right there, almost on top of him was C.J. Fleming, the defensive back off that side. Another young man that came back from a year ago.
Makes a 20-yard catch for a Hendersonville Family Dental first down. And as we close in on 5 minutes remaining in the opening period, talked about how often will we see Hayden Craig, his own number called. Well, after the fake of the give here, going to keep it up inside. And there's a good look at Hayden Craig. Boy, what a weapon he is for Reynolds at the quarterback position. And you can see the bodies in the distance right up front and the job they have of providing space when he does carry the football.
Yeah, a couple seniors on that forward wall. We mentioned Pohl at 6'3", 260, the senior, the right tackle. And then Dwayne Brooks, the left guard at 5'11", 235. He's a senior as well.
Raleigh Hall right there in the heart of your screen as you were taking a look at the start of this play. And all those jerseys of the Cougars, that familiar swarming defense to the far side as they work their way over to the ball carrier. The receiver stacked up pretty quickly as we dip inside 522. Here comes a third down play. Positive yards, but they get there quickly, Tom.
Yeah, I tell you, flow to the football, looking for that, and just stand them up, and then you get some help from behind as well.
Well, the Asheville staff looking on, trying to find a way to shut this drive down right here on third. Here comes the run right up the gut, and there's all kind of room. Did he make it to the goal line? Lunged forward at the end of that after the shoestring tackle and came up just a bit shy. But how about the burst of speed we saw right up the middle from Tyvon Patterson? Easy now to see why he's the leader in terms of scoring on the year.
Yeah, you saw the first block there, and he cut back inside of that. You get a good look at it here. See that? Nice block there to open it up, and then there was an avenue for him, and he knew what to do once he got into the secondary, a sophomore.
Patterson has them on the doorstep, but deep into the First Bank red zone. And another Hendersonville Family Dental first down. First down play won't be successful. In fact, slightly backward on the first down play as Asheville's defense pushes through. Boy, really loaded up that package with receivers giving a look as if they were going to go to the air, Tom, and then found room for Patterson right up the middle.
Yeah, able to widen it out just a little bit and then got him down to the 1 yard line, but a great job up front by the penetration.
34-yard run for Patterson to put this right on the verge. And a little push from that group up front, getting in behind the big boys, but a flag comes down at around the 6, and this is going to be brought back. It will go against Reynolds. They're still celebrating in the end zone. Patterson and company just off your screen and now working your way into it. We're high-fiving one another, thinking the deed was done. What they didn't know, a flag was dropped back at the 6, and we'll reset from a little further back and have these two teams do it all over again.
We'll get the call here, but it was a jumbo package look. They all just kind of got to the line of scrimmage and used the opportunity to push and got them in, but the penalty brings it back. Watch that. They just kind of all centered there, and look at them push. They got the tight end that came in there as well, and that was Christian Lewis. He got a touchdown pass last week, and they're in.
Officials saw it right away. And as a result, flags fly. And now set up one more time. It's going to be second down goal, and that's caught. And trying to struggle away, see if he can get to the goal line as the receiver. It is not to be. That is turned aside one more time. That is after the reception by Ty Johnson here.
Yeah, that's a very good tackle. It was Cuevo Hayes, the outside linebacker, 6 feet, 157, a junior, holding on. He's a big guy trying to bring him down, but he got some help from some of his fellow teammates there to keep him shy of the goal line. It's a big play here.
5 for 5 for 42 on those high percentage passes. It will not be through the air, but on the ground as they give to Patterson, on which success is found to cap this drive. And he will this time celebrate, and it will this time stick. 6 on the board to stay for AC Reynolds as the Rockets strike first they do so on their second drive of the football game.
Yeah, they were impressive on that, including that 34-yard run by the aforementioned Patterson, and then blocking up front. Contact about the 2, but his momentum got him into the end zone.
Double digits in terms of touchdowns for the year, as he caps number 10, does the jersey number 12. And the extra point, he is going to work its way straight up and through, handled to perfection by Santilla. And there's one more look at the touchdown run from Patterson, making it 7-0 Rockets.
Don't let game night dinner get you stressed. Stop by Ingles for great choices from the Ingles Deli. Rotisserie chicken, fresh made salads, a delicious hot bar, and sub bar. It's dinner and a snap, then off to the game. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Delightful night in Western North Carolina, and certainly delighted the folks that made the short trip over from Reynolds as a 10-play, 67-yard drive, which took 4:42 off the game clock. Gives the visiting Rockets a 7-0 lead. They turned out in full force on both sides tonight, Tom.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it's going to be a beautiful night. It is a beautiful night for high school football here in Western North Carolina, and good crowd on hand on both sides, and justifiably so. Two teams with a lot of high expectations this year. Both anticipate getting to the playoffs like they did a year ago. Last couple of years, some tough losses for Asheville, but it's an AC Reynolds team that came up just a little bit short of Weddington last year in round 4.
I always wonder if it's a vision of things to come. That Weddington team taking care of business. One of the losses on Dutch Fork in South Carolina's roster this year. You talk about some of the things that the battles across the state lines as we've had. Our Friday Night Rivals season started with all of the success for Crest.
Yes.
That team we'll see next week, Gaffney, as they travel to Spartanburg for that one. And, you think about all that has become of high school football. We talked about it a little bit last week with Providence Day, a team that, by the way, we've already seen on the roster and on the schedule of those we're watching tonight. It really has become a national game in so many ways, Tom. You travel across the state line. You think about the trip for Asheville into Tennessee and one of the greatest environments in
Absolutely.
all of high school football. So one of the things you really notice right away about the growth of this game in recent years, and Asheville is evidence of it as they go back to work here, is how this has become at least a regional, and even more than that, a national sport, as opposed to only playing the teams in the community next door.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I love that. I mean, the matchup of Crest and Gaffney, 44-38 in that game. And, you had Providence Day take it on Northwestern up in Charlotte. And, I love those early season games like that.
And Providence Day's been seen by exactly what you talk about here, recent times. And as I said, what did he say about that contest where they crossed the state line and into Tennessee? He said, the stadium, as phenomenal as anything you'll see, and the band in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, one of the biggest in the nation, if not the biggest in the nation. So you got all kind of things to look forward to when you can take your young men into those environments and let them experience things that are beyond their own communities. It serves the overall development of these players, to be sure. Have not introduced you to our officials tonight. That's our referee, Wade King. He is joined by Rick Harris, the umpire. Ryan Bowman is the linesman. The line judge, Forrest Jones, and the back judge is Thomas Baker. And here's what they called on that last play, Tom.
Yeah, trying to get it out on the edge and trying to block it there and just hanging on a little bit too long. So it'll place him back there a little bit. But you're talking about Dobbins Bennett out of Kingsport, Tennessee. And it's a team that beat Asheville 41-16. They had 8 to 10,000 double-deck stadium there, and told that they sell 4,000 season tickets at the high school level. And Coach was saying that just the environment, the atmosphere to get his kids have an opportunity to play in that. And the other part about that, as we get into the broadcast, is it's difficult for these teams, Asheville and Reynolds, to get non-conference games. That's why they're playing the Providence Days. That's why they're playing Lake Morgan and some other teams like that. I mean, highly regarded teams at AC Reynolds and also Asheville played a non-conference, all but one ranked.
And on the second down from behind the sticks, rushing it out near side across the 20 to the 21. And just a couple of yards there maybe, but still trying to get back to the original positioning is Kaheem Plummer. I'll say this, Tom, to have so many young players and be able to take them in those kind of environments right away, it may not even pay the dividends in full this year that it will before their careers are over.
Well, that's true, and the chance to play in that kind of atmosphere. But the one thing that Coach talked with us this week about was you did lose those games, 47-7 and 34-7 and 41-16. You don't want to get beaten up a little bit on that in terms of getting down on yourself, because these are very good, very powerful, highly ranked teams that you're playing early on in the year. And, you want to make sure that doesn't become a factor throughout the course of the season, the rest of the season.
Not dropping back. We'll see if it has factored into the arm strength in any way. That's a pass zipped across at the 25, near the 26-yard line. Going to be caught over there. C.J. Morgan, another one of those senior wide receivers. He stands at 5'11", 152, and he reels this in. But again, that's well short of the line to gain. So 4th and 5 is coming inside the final minute of our first quarter.
Yeah, you get behind the chains, and it is tough to catch up. And had some time to throw. That's a long diagonal throw, and Ingram played that very well defensively, kept it in front, knew where the yard line marker was.
This will take an Asheville hop, snatching it out of the sky and deciding to do something with it. The return man, and up near the 47-yard line when all is said and done for Ingram, who made a gutsy move to go ahead and fill that. Saved his team some yardage in doing so. When it works out, it's a beautiful thing, Tom.
Yeah, we have seen it's an oblong ball. You never know. We have seen that a couple of times tonight, and he goes and gets it and gets away from a tackler there and showing his versatility. Just made a nice play on the tackle that forced the punt, and then as a punt returner, positive yardage there.
And now on the first down play, rushing it across to the 48, up near the 49-yard line. As they work their way forward, Jaden Smith to begin this drive. And after the last drive, 10 plays, 67 yards, just under 5 minutes, gave a 7-0 lead to Reynolds. They have 9.5 to take for a spin at the close of the first quarter to see if the lead grows further. And right up the middle of that, Asheville D almost broke one, gets inside the 40 to the 38, and it looks like after they flip sides of the field, that will be where the drive will continue for Reynolds. Clock put back in motion after the quick stop to move the chains on the Hendersonville Family Dental first down, and it will bring us to the close of the first period. Curtain drops on quarter number 1. Just a single touchdown on the board has AC Reynolds in the lead at Asheville. Well, quite a night for the band. You saw the helicopter bring the game ball in earlier. As much of a spectacle was when the band marched in around the track. They've got the 8th graders with them tonight, largest band in this part of North Carolina, showing their best tonight in front of the home faithful, and that is our in-market band spotlight. And we certainly were wowed by that group as they made their way across the field in preparation for tonight's game. Fans have been thus far impressed with what Reynolds has done. The 10-play drive resulting in a touchdown earlier. And here come the Rockets down the near sideline right into that Asheville bench area. In Asheville territory as this drive continues. And you said it when we were off air in between quarters. Tom, it's early. There's a whole bunch of football left, but it certainly feels like an important moment for the Asheville defense.
Yeah, they've been able to establish that run. Again, this is Jaden Smith who gets an opportunity, a 5'6", 165-pound sophomore, and Ivan Patterson was the young man who was there the last drive, the 34-yard run to get the touchdown.
And remember, Jaden Smith had the carry just a moment ago before the quarter ended that put this team in position as he now carries it once more to begin the second period. It's going to take it down near third and manageable. But again, big picture of the contest right now, key defensive stand for Asheville as Smith is pointing in the direction of the sideline. Looks like he is going to come off. And we're going to have into the package this time around is going to be Ingram, who you saw make the play on the punt to save some yardage toward the end of the first period. Now looking over to the sideline before he takes the snap is Hayden Craig. And now he'll set himself up just in front of Ingram with the ball carrier on his right hip. Here he comes up the middle, right between the hashes, and he's down to the 10-yard line. They're going to say he worked his way all the way across the 10 to the 9. So into the heart of the First Bank red zone with this carry of 21 yards from Ingram.
Well, I'll tell you what, got in that double wing look, and there you see the tight end off the left side, Ethan Klepper, 6'1", 185, sophomore tight end. He led the way in, but boy, a nice little jump cut inside, and good-looking running back there. 3 of them so far for this AC Reynolds team.
Our First Bank red zone opportunity coming your way. First one on either side in reality here, and it's going to be cashed in. Another carry, this one by Ingram again, and after the 21-yard scamper that put them on the doorstep, somewhat fitting that he closes the deal and provides the United touchdown. Touchdown sponsored by United Federal Credit Union, as are all of our scores tonight. Here's another glance at the United touchdown for Ingram.
Impressive on the road, and on the ground, and able to take it in, and just offensive line getting it done up front. And once you get to the secondary, some nice moves as well.
I think Craig wasn't fired up to see his body language, the emotion after he engineers this second drive of success for Reynolds, just like that in the early stages of the second period. It is a 2-score lead for the Rockets. Reason they're blasting off on this drive. Ingram, 21-yard carry down to the doorstep, and that's what capped it. Well, at the home of the Cougars tonight, we are at Asheville High. They host AC Reynolds. Things going Reynolds' way so far, but smiles all around regardless, as there's a lot of football left to determine this one, and it's a pleasure to bring to you our Asheville Smiles Cosmetic and Family Dentistry Smile Cam. And Tom, we talked about the band and all the pageantry surrounding this game from pregame forward, and it'll continue, and it'll continue throughout this contest because of what exists between these two sidelines year in and year out.
Yeah, you can see just the happiness there, and we talked about the band and everything else that's gone on with the Heroes Night recognition, and just a great night at the ballpark. And you'd like to have Asheville, if you're an Asheville fan, get one going right here. Reynolds has looked impressive the last couple of drives.
To the tune of 6 plays, 53 yards, a minute 23 seconds on that most recent drive. That was after the 10-play, 67-yard, 4-minute 42-second drive, all adding up to 14-0. And you know what that adds up to, boy. Our hat is tipped, the tip of the cap to all those who have fought, who have served, who have made it possible for us to enjoy nights like this as we do honor heroes on all levels and on all fronts coming into this one tonight. And a foot into it as the return man is at the 6. A little bit of trouble with this. Now that's live, and back to grab it on the goal line and have to make an adjustment, ultimately getting out to around the 10-yard line is Caden Ray, the sophomore on the kick return. So going to be difficult field position to get things started for Asheville, but Tom, after the way that transpired early, could have been a whole lot worse.
Yes, I was going to say, that's exactly where I was headed. Like the way that played out, it could have been a lot worse than that. A little bit of breathing room at the 11-yard line. So need to pick up some first downs and give your defense a chance to take a breath over there on the sideline. Reynolds has done some really good things there the last two.
Timeout being taken on the field. We'll step away as well. Much more to come from Asheville High in a 2-score game early second.
Friday Night Rivals is brought to you in part by Carolina Furniture Concepts. Over $5 million of furniture in stock, ready to deliver to you. Visit their Arden and Waynesville showrooms or go to CarolinaFurnitureConcepts.com.
Well, a little bit of time taken to explain to Coach Laws on the far side. The ball's going to be brought out here, Tom, to the 20-yard line.
Yes.
Looks to everyone as if perhaps touched and then backward. And you thought that Asheville was going to be set up at around the 10. Instead, the ball being placed on the 20, so the drive will start there. Let's talk about this drive for Asheville and how important it is now that they find themselves down 2 scores.
Well, you're down 14-0 early on in this ball game. You need to get some offense generated here, give your defense a chance to regroup over there. And, I mean, the good thing is not a whole lot of players go both ways, so you have a chance to talk over that way. So we've seen some effectiveness with the passing game and a little bit with the running game as well, but you need to definitely, I think, put together a big drive here. 10:30 to play, second quarter. And we talked about how good these games have been the last 2 times they've been here. 2 years ago here on My-40, a tremendous 6-5 game that Asheville went on to win the championship. And the game prior to that was the spring game in 2021, which would have been the 20 season. It was 13-12. And it was an AC Reynolds team that got out of here with a win. And we talked with Coach Laws before the game about that, and he knows it's a tough place to play, and what he wanted to do is what he's done so far, get an early lead.
Saw this penalty while you're walking through that. Back Asheville up a little bit. So almost back to where the original drive was going to start. You know, Coach Laws, you mentioned him. He came out, required a little bit of an extended explanation during the break. As, again, the ball went from the 10, then to the 20, but now with the infraction on the delay, back to the 15-yard line where the ball rests. And a play that will go a little further than that brings up 2nd down and 15. 10 and change to go, second period. 67-yard and 53-yard drives for Reynolds. Asheville trying to put together their first consequential drive. This will help. Room up the near side all the way across the 40 is C.J. Morgan as they go his direction with the football. And that is not only a Mills River Family Dental first down, it's a whole lot more as 30 yards are rolled up by this reception.
That is a huge play. You're backed up. You're behind the chains and able to get some coverage coming across it. And good job out there not to block in the back or pick up a clip there and just kind of stay off it a little bit. Get the big gain. Much needed.
Move the chains on that Mills River Family Dental first down of the 43-yard line. And this time Asheville goes to the ground. But boy, is that ball carrier met. And I mean quickly. How much force Brandon Guess worked his way into the backfield with there. And it sets up a 2nd down and 9. But that's one of the louder thumps of the night.
6 feet, 215 senior, the leading tackler coming in. It just looks hard, doesn't it? Looks tough.
Fierce competitor, and you can see it on display as he takes care of business. Goes for about a yard when all is said and done, but he certainly won the moment in terms of the impact as the fans reacted immediately to that collision. Up across the 45. Well, make something out of the 2nd down play. They will. What do you do after a big hit like that? Bounce right back. And that's certainly what took place for young Mr. Williams. Nick Williams, ball right back in his hands, and this time he's up near first down yardage.
Yeah, you love that. He's the one that got the hard hit from Guest a moment ago. Get out of the corner.
That's what I mentioned, yeah.
Eventually be involved in that play along with Neema Hammond to help bring him in.
That's kind of my point. What do? You get right back up. You bounce back. They put the ball right back in his hands. And the best way to win that battle, Tom, after that hard lick, is to move the chains. And they're now on the doorstep of doing so. A far more manageable 3rd down for Asheville. And you see the change in the look for the Cougars. Can you say Cougars are going Wildcat? I don't know exactly how that works. But here is a ball kept on the ground nonetheless up across the 50 to the 47-yard line. And that's going to be right. It looks, at least at first glance, right beyond the sticks. And it seems as if we are being given indication that's going to be a first down, and there it was officially. So move the chains. Asheville, in the end, gets the first down.
Interesting formation there. Lots of movement offensive line. Had 3 to the right of the Noah Shaw, who actually came in there and got the direct snap and able to power it up and got that first down. That's a big one on 3rd down and 2.
First down from the 47. Mills River Family Dental first down is Asheville on a key drive for the home team. Boy, that's slung out far side. There's going to be no room across the 50-yard line after the reception by Kaheem Plummer. And there might have been something else at the end of this, as they're going to come over and try to separate these squads, and with good reason. It is a game marked by high energy, intensity, and rivalry. And looks like at the end of all this, the training staff going to have to come over quickly as we've got a player down. Something down at around the 48-yard line all the way over on that far side too. But more importantly, in drawing the attention of the training staff right now, is one of the Asheville Cougars. He's made his way back to right around the 50. And see the brief conversation taking place nearby. The work of the training staff between Coach Court Radford and our referee.
It was on the far side away from us and able to catch it and turn it up, and then a big collision over there on the AC Reynolds sideline. And
well, it got a little testy over there, Tom, at the very end of things. Let's see if we can go back and see exactly what transpired. You saw things become heightened as after the reception, worked his way into the bench area for AC Reynolds. And you take a look at this, it's when it's said and done, and credit the coaches, they get there right away. And there's the flag that we saw thrown early on in the sequence, but attention now has turned to the status of the receiver. Is where you could tell that Aiden Hines was right in the middle of things for AC Reynolds. Slower to get up, but now working off under his own power is Kaheem Plummer. Would receive the football. So they'll have to sort the penalty out when all is said and done. Here's one more glance at it, Tom.
And that's a tough pass to begin with, and just trying to make some more yardage and driven out of bounds. And I think there was a late extracurricular.
Yeah,
there,
there's
maybe.
the extracurricular. You took the words right out of my mouth. Let's see what
Got hit hard and then reacted to it.
the ultimate result is going to be here. And I'll say it one more time. You credit these coaches, and we do on most Friday nights. Johnny on the spot in terms of making sure that did not, the snowball didn't continue to roll downhill and things did not intensify. They're going to back Asheville up when all is said and done to the 35-yard line. It's like anything that happens in class, right? It's all about what's seen. And on this occasion, this is going to prove costly for the Cougars as they're all the way back at their 35, needing the 37 of Reynolds for a first down. So it is second, and as we often refer to it, a country mile from where you and I come from.
Yes.
They're very different places, very similar in so many ways. Rolling this direction and tucking it as the 40-yard line, about all that's there. In fact, shy of it at the 39 is where this carry will take the QB. And Tom, it's a drive that went off the rails pretty quickly after that play out of bounds.
Yeah, had a good start to it, and you know, first and 28, you're not going to get it all back, and not there. Make the decision. Doesn't run all that much. 27 times, 67 yards. Some of that with the quarterback sacks, and got some positive yardage after that before Guest and company made the tackle there.
Well, let's see if Meek Slidell slings one somewhere. It is third down. And again, we'll tell you the line to make. They need the 37-yard line on the other side of the field. It's almost a quarter century, almost a quarter of the field needed. Here's a big lick in the middle one more time. Boy, there, as the ball carrier was trying to just make something happen once he got an open real estate, was Brandon Guest one more time. And you'll get another look at it right here.
And I'm telling you what, if he has a chance, he's going to come get you and stroke you and knock him down hard there.
Yeah, Brandon Guest, the guy that he certainly has to be located on the field at all times. And waits back and delivers another healthy blow. Result will be a punt. Like it hit maybe one of the Asheville players, not near as consequential as if it had hit a Reynolds Rocket. And the Rockets of Reynolds will take over at their own 37 when you return to Asheville High. (14-0) Rockets, as Asheville has just kicked it away. And there are couple of drives under the belt of the Rockets right now that have resulted in TDs, Tom. And as for Asheville, still looking for their first pay dirt moment in this. But think about this. 3 drives for Reynolds, 2 of them ending in touchdowns. And for Asheville, 3 possessions, 3 punts at this point for the Cougars.
Pretty much sums up where we are in this game. And what do you think about a mood lighting here, Jason?
Well, you know, anytime you can turn the knob and get it to a desired.
Where's that disco ball when you need it?
Yeah, see, now you're showing your age there. You got a few years on some of the rest of us in the booth here. You're showing your desire to get back to the old college days, perhaps.
Oh, man.
Save that for Saturdays, Tom Van Hoy. You want to stick around. What we have for you on Fridays is the Asheville Chevy Show at the half. And look who it is.
Yes.
The guys who may know a little bit about what you're talking about. There's Stan and Bobby getting ready to share with you what's going on down at Asheville Chevy. They'll have their segment. You'll learn more about both of these teams and programs, all part of the Asheville Chevy Show coming up for you at the half. Well, one number that they won't want to see at the half, 34 yards penalty-wise for Asheville to just a couple of flags for 10 yards against Reynolds. So that's a decided advantage for the Rockets, and where it counts, a decided advantage for the Rockets at 14-0 as they go to work here with 5:02 remaining in the second period. Those 2 drives, if you weren't with us, 10 plays, 67 yards, just under 5 minutes, 4:42 for a 7-0 lead. 6 plays, 53 yards, and a minute and a half are right under it. And they're trying to score even quicker here as down the far side it goes, but it is just out of the reach of the intended target and incomplete. And that second touchdown made it 14-0. That was designs on another had they been able to connect with Ty Johnson, but it just wasn't to be.
Posting good wide receivers this year. Johnson, 6'3", 180, a senior. 25 catches coming in, 399 yards. Touchdowns along the way, about 16.6 per catch, and he was open, just missed him.
What can you say about Hayden Craig so far? 5 of 6, 42 yards to his credit through the air. Once more, 5 of 6, 42 yards. Those are the early numbers for Craig.
Well, and that'll, when you can run like they have when they had Tyvon Patterson and then Jaden Smith came in, we've seen the touchdown by Malik Ingram as well. When you can do that and you run up inside, it opens some things up. And we'll see, again, Johnson have an opportunity. We said run ball, catch and passes. So they're a team that's balanced, 53% rush and 47% throwing the football this year so far.
Happy to have you with us on WLOS WMYA's presentation of Friday Night Rivals with 5 and change remaining in the first half of a must-win MAC game. If you're going to win the Mountain Athletic Conference, this is all but that. Have to have this one. And Asheville trying to hang around in it, providing some pressure here and able to sling it forward for a first down. How about this? Mills River Family Dental first down, reeled in just above that Cougars logo on a nice toss and catch. And Tom, this is the definition of helping your quarterback out a little bit.
Oh, man, it would have been a great play defensively and able to get it under duress and just launch it down there and come back, get it, make sure you secure the catch, which he did. Good job by a veteran quarterback who played quite a bit last year as a junior into his senior year.
Yeah, Southpaw gunslinger able to find Ty Johnson one more time. Just talking about how good things had been for Craig thus far from a passing standpoint. A lot of high percentage stuff early. Certainly helps to have that guy on your side. 3 catches, 21 yards as we speak for Ty Johnson.
Well, Craig coming in, 79 at 113, 950 yards. How about the 12 touchdowns, 3 interceptions? That's it, completing about 70% of his passes.
And again, a lot of that high percentage stuff that the Rockets use so well, kind of blast off from, right? To use the proper terminology when you talk about the Rockets. They use those, and it's the yards after the catch where they can often do so much damage, Tom, and we've seen that at times tonight as well for Shane Law's squad.
Yeah, they have varied what they want to do offensively. You can establish the run, and that opens some other things up, and you can get it downfield. You get the coverage that you're looking for as well. You see Lewis there in your screen, 34. He's a tight end / fullback that can get involved in the passing game as well, but can also be a blocker on that run game as well.
Christian Lewis, one of the seniors on this squad. As you see, third down is coming. Gonna need about 3 or 4 here, and met behind the line of scrimmage is the ball carrier as they tried to give it to Patterson. But among those Cougars there to make the stop C.J. Fleming, the senior DB, steps up.
Yeah, he's able to come up and make that play. 5'9", 176 is senior. Good job. Got him going lateral a little bit, closed. And that's a good open field tackle, one-on-one there to keep him shy of the first down.
And help from Ben Bevins if he needed it, but it was Fleming able to make the play. So 4th down for Reynolds. It's 4th down and 3. And before the play can get rolling, a flag dropped at the 39. This will be mission critical as it was inside that 5-yard window. But this is going to be a false start instead of the other option. And in doing so, we'll back Reynolds up just a little bit. Boy, how about the job for, you talked about Patterson and his run earlier in the game. 9 carries, 59 yards thus far. We'll see if they go to him once more. There's a look at the false start.
Yeah, that's it'd be interesting to see what the call is here because you're 4th and 3. They're going to run the ball up the middle, but when it changes to 4th and 8 and it's a 14-0 ball game late in the first half, kick it out of there, play some defense, and keep that lead where it is.
And that's what they'll opt to do now as the return man is back at the 10-yard line. Going to have about 2 minutes with which to work. Well, the play clock down to 2, but they will get the snap off. So going to have about 2 minutes, probably 15 seconds or so, depending upon how long this rolls around. And it's going to be the case on the button for this Cougar squad. Let's see what Asheville can do. And in essence, the 2-minute drill for Asheville to try to get some points on the board.
I tell you what, that ball, I mean, it's oblong ball. It just bounced all over the place tonight. That looked like one maybe you could kind of pick up and get a few more yards, but, you want to have the possession for sure. And they're going to come back on, and I don't think you get too fancy here. You're deep in your own territory. It's a 14-0 ball game. We'll see what they decide to do here late in the first half.
How much can he potentially roll up on the ground? And how much leeway do you give Meek Slidell here? Those are the questions that will be answered in the next 2 minutes, 15 seconds. A couple of drives surrendered defensively. 2 out of the first 3 drives resulting in touchdowns for Reynolds. Nothing, as you can see on the scoreboard, having resulted in points for Asheville yet. Slidell is going to fire away. And he had a man in behind the defense. Well, actually in between the defense, but with all kind of space with which to receive the pass. And this just looked like it maybe slipped out of the hand of the quarterback. Goes well behind the sticks and into that track area. Tom, nothing to show for it on this one.
And Addison Kane, I mean, that's another long throw and was there, but sailed way out of bounds, and it does stop the clock as well.
Now you look at that, maybe a little more intentional than he thought right away, but he was wide open with about 5 yards between he and the defender he had passed and another 10 before you arrived at any other white jerseys. But the connection by the wayside, trips to the far side this time, and it's going to be up across the 10, keeping it on the ground and spinning forward. How about backpedaling all the way to the 20-yard line? That showed a great deal of fight. At the ball was placed in the hands one more time of Josh Ellis, who's digging for every inch of real estate. Well, you got to love the secondary effort by Ellis there, Tom.
He's a young man that actually leads the team in terms of number of carries, 57 for 364 and 5 touchdowns, 6.4 per carry. And, yeah, that was second effort. I mean, contact pretty much near the line of scrimmage, and that second, third effort got a good game.
Also give Katsagiani a little bit of credit. He ended up making a nice block in the effort to spring that as well. One of the junior offensive linemen. Now it's a full backfield on this package, and before anything can happen, ball is down, and it's going to be Reynolds football. And who is there to take it away with what falls into that somewhat disastrous end of the half category is Aiden Hines, who comes out of there with the football for Reynolds, and that was the last thing that Asheville wanted to see in the closing stages of this first half.
3rd and 1, look at it here. Has it, and then just gets hit before he can even kind of toss that ball. Good penetration there up front, and then able to get on the football, but the penetration set it up before he can even hand the football up. Kind of coming across, I think, is what they wanted to do. It looked like the old T formation there.
So First Bank red zone chance afforded Reynolds, and here's the incomplete pass. Let's go back and take one more look at this play that resulted in the turnover. And Tom, boy, look at the the job to break through there by big 99. All of that created by Edwin Santiago.
Yep.
And then in the end, it's cleaned up by Aiden Hines. And that's why Reynolds is in position to make it a 3-score game at the break. And here is the gentleman who was able to get in there and provide the damage on the Reynolds side of things. Second down. Goal to go. Inside run at around the 7-yard line. And this is going to serve to take the final moments perhaps a little closer down on that game clock as timeout is being called for with 1:01 to play. And third down and goal is coming for Reynolds. Boy, this is just a critical moment for Asheville to try to tighten up, see if they can prevent falling down 21-0 somehow, some way, because that rolled out the red carpet for Reynolds, that great defensive play initiated by Santiago.
Yeah, that was a big play in this ball game. You were looking at 14-0 and going to go for it and have a pretty good opportunity to make a first down, keep the drive alive, and maybe get something generated and get something on the board before the first half. But as you mentioned, that outstanding defensive play, first and goal from the 9-yard line. Tried to throw it on first down and then ran it up inside and to bring up a third down and goal. And I mean, this is a huge play for Asheville in this game right now.
Recapping for fans maybe who have not been with us all along the way, it was a 10-play, 67-yard drive. Just under 5 minutes on the lengthier drive of the day for Reynolds that made it 7-0. And then possession later, 53 yards on 6 plays, a minute 23, and it was 14-0. And all of that happening wrapped around the end of the first period and the beginning stages of this second quarter. And now trying to take a much shorter journey after starting this drive in the red zone. And now facing a third down and goal from the 7. Reynolds trying to cap what's been a dominant first half of football with yet another score. And cash in on the turnover. Now Craig deciding to run it. Got to find enough room to get to the end zone. Now the ball is down. Did it come out before he crossed the plane? Reynolds saying they have the football either way. No full confirmation has been provided yet. You want to talk about finding a way if you're Asheville. If somehow Asheville comes out of the pile with a football, and they do, it changes everything for the Cougars here, as it will be a turnover, which changes the end of first half narrative, as Reynolds will, at least for now, go up no further than 14-0. What a job by the Cougars D. Boy, he was so close to being across the plane here, Tom.
Now let's get another look at it here. First off, it's really good secondary defense there. I thought he might have a chance to get in. I mean, that is really close if we had one on the...
Well, the hit delivered by C.J. Fleming that jarred the ball loose. I don't know if we have a look right down the goal line, but if we have something that kind of shows you a bit of a side angle, it would be more determinative than what we saw there. Let's see the crew working hard in the truck, and we'll see what options they have to provide you. Meanwhile, there is timeout on the field, and Tom, that was one of those borderline from did he cross the plane?
Yeah, that was close.
You have to give plenty of credit to C.J. Fleming, though. The ultimate outcome of the play as the officials saw it on the field, and they're doing it in real time, our heroes there, and they determined that ball was out, and so it is Asheville football. I'm told we have a bit of a wide angle. We'll show you one more glance at it from a different angle just to see if perhaps you can determine anything from here. It's going to be a bit from behind the play.
Oh, he missed. He had it wide open there, but we'll just watch this.
But plenty of room to get there, but runs into his own man, and then the ball pops out just as he's trying to make his way across the goal line.
I think that shot there, it did, Jason, look like he turned his back a bit, and the ball, maybe his back was right on the line, but then it kind of popped out of there before he got in there.
Well, Tommy, he ran into Rumbo at the goal line.
Okay.
This is going to be the best look, even though it doesn't give you right down the line. It's going to be the closest look in to where he is. No way to tell whether he's across the plane from that angle. But still, it does show you just how close it was, Tom. And again, I'll say it, he ran into Rambaugh, and after running into him, kind of had to turn just a bit, and then big-time arrival after he did run into him by C.J. Fleming. So, Rumbaugh was trying to make some space for him. And all you can go back to is what we saw originally with the naked eye. And our original glance from up here, and again, our angle is as difficult as from a down the line standpoint as some others, but it looked like he was just right there on the verge. Whatever the case, let's get to the heart of the matter, and that is that Asheville dodges a major bullet at the end of the half, thanks to a solid defensive play from C.J. Fleming to jar the ball loose.
I think it was Brenton Hansford that came up with the football there late, but I did a lot of college football back in the day, and the guy I used to work with was a former defensive coordinator, and he said it doesn't count until they cross the double stripes. So great job to continue to play hard on defense and come up with the football.
Well, the other moral of the story is the referees always are heroes. They have to do it in real time. They have to do it immediately, and they have to look at it. And, it's like the old days of football used to be, so used to watching maybe the NFL and college game where they're going back and they're reviewing and they're looking at everything. This is the way football was born and the way football was raised. However it's called initially on the field, that's the way it really is. And there's some beauty in that as well. On this occasion, it's one of those game of inches moments, which leaves it at 14-0 as we push toward halftime. And go ahead and dive in here with you on the halftime piece of it, Tom. What are your moments that you take away when you reflect upon the first half? What are going to be your takeaways into the locker room?
Well, I think from Asheville's standpoint, it kind of got away from them a little bit there, but I think they've got to be rejuvenated with the way that it ended in the first half. If AC Reynolds scores, it's a chance to be up 21-0 after you turn the football over. So I think it really changes the emotion to a certain extent on Asheville's side in terms of what they were going to be facing and what they are going to face in reality. And if you're AC Reynolds, I think you look at it like, well, we were able to get a couple of touchdowns on the board, and they probably feel like they could be pretty good on the offensive side when they get it in the second half as well.
Javion Howard being tended to. Here's a look at exactly what happened. As just looks like rolled up on a little bit, as they said, related to Javion Howard. And he's down at the 10-yard line being tended to. Well, bigger picture, last thing you want to see toward the end of the half. One of these players shaking up a little bit. Hopefully all will be well and play will continue with 39.1 to go here in the first half.
The two things we saw there were just great defensive plays made by respective teams to get the football back. In Reynolds' case, have an opportunity on what was a 3rd down and 1 play. And then in this case, it with Craig looked like he might have a chance to get into the end zone, and it didn't happen with a collision near the goal line. And young man up, and hopefully will be okay as he being helped off a little bit there.
And one more time, Javion Howard, the sophomore offensive lineman, but good size. We were talking about it pregame for a sophomore, and now just going to really be in a position to perhaps reach that high ceiling in his career. 6 foot 225 for Howard as he works his way off near side.
And you're talking about a really young offensive line. He's a sophomore. The center, Aiden Briggs, is a sophomore. The twins, Princeton Johnny and Katzen Johnny, are the guards, and they're juniors. And the freshman, the right tackle, Zeke Wiesner at 6'2", 198. And man, that is so tough to play as a freshman, let alone on the offensive line.
It's going to be interesting to see how the numbers shake out at the half. It was 104 to 29 total offense after 1 quarter of action. 104, of course, on the AC Reynolds side of things, and the 2 scores that are up on the board for the Rockets. But it'll be interesting to see how things shake out here. The other number that really is going to jump out at you, turnovers. Both teams turning it over toward the end of the half here, but it does not affect the score when all is said and done, Tom. At least it would appear that way. As timeouts taken, and Reynolds going to try to save as much time, see if perhaps they can get the football back and do something with it. But as it stands right now, at least, 14-0 would be where it's trending toward the half. And, you think about the good job Craig has done. We gave you some of his numbers, early impact for Patterson on that side of things. And then, big defensive play from C.J. Fleming a moment ago after seeing so many different contributors on the Asheville High side, just kind of keep this team right there in the thick of it. So engaging first half, and 14-0 as Reynolds tries to discover, can they use their timeouts in an effective fashion and add anything to it before they head to the locker room?
Well, and here's an AC Reynolds team that's coming off back-to-back wins at North Buncombe, 50-0, and Inca 58-7. The 3 losses that they have are to 4A teams in North Carolina, all ranked in the top 21 in the state, and by a total of 8 points, 2 1-point games and a 6-point game as well. And then we talked about Asheville and who they have played with Providence Day, with Lake Morgan, and then also at Dobbins Bennett in Tennessee. Dobbins Bennett number 19 in 6A there, and Providence Day, depending on where you look, they're the number 1 team in the state of North Carolina.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Saw how good they can be last week. What did he say about that Providence Day team? He said every now and again you'll play a team and you'll say, hey, 1 or 2 of these guys may play on Sunday. Not often you play a team, you say, hey, 4 or 5 of these guys are likely to play on Sunday. That's certainly the case with that crew we saw a week ago, and high hopes for their season as well. Still high hopes for both of these teams on this night in the critical Western North Carolina rivalry that is Reynolds, Asheville. And that is a knee, which will send us to the locker room with a 14-0 lead for the Rockets. It's going to be interesting to see what Coach Shane Laws has to say, because, yes, his team is going to take the advantage to the intermission, but this is certainly one of those halves that they feel as if they should have had more, Tom, particularly right there with the ball on the doorstep after the turnover.
The ability there to not get in, or I should say the better defensive play there kept them out. And you're talking about a difference between 21-0 and 14-0 at halftime, where you've got total control. Like Asheville, they can come out and they get something going on in the third quarter. They're right back into this ball game.
Well, you want to stick around after we have the Carolina Furniture Concepts Coaches Corner interview. You'll see parts of this band. You will learn about both of these programs. You will hear from Stan and Bobby. It's all part of the Asheville Chevy Show coming up just moments from now. It will begin on the other side of the commercial break. That's that weekly Asheville Chevy Show, one of the highlight features of Bojangles' Friday Night Rivals. Well, time to grab the thoughts of the head coach leading at the half. Here is Shane Laws standing by with Nelson.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Jason. This is the Coach's Corner, brought to you by Carolina Furniture Concepts. So, Coach, I got to tell you, this is shaping to be a great rivalry match like we all hoped it was going to be. Both fans are very excited, and I know it took a few minutes in the first quarter, really anything going on both sides of the ball, but your team struck first. You're on the board. The momentum is behind y'all right now. What were your thoughts on the first half, Coach?
I mean, we did some good things, but we've got to play better offensively. We had a couple drives that we didn't finish just because of mistakes, and that's the biggest thing right now. We've got to clean up a few of these mistakes that we made in the first half and finish drives. I mean, we get the defense forced a turnover down there inside the 20, and we didn't get anything out of it. I mean, we've got to be better than that. Okay, so what's going to be the message to the boys in the locker room then, Coach? Just finish. Finish. Do your job. Finish blocks. Finish your assignment, and let's finish some of these drives. All right, good luck to your boys in the second half, Coach. Yes, sir. Back to you, Tom. Back to you, Jason.
Well, you heard it. He referenced it, that opportunity at the end of the half when his defense forced a turnover. However, Patterson and company with early impact. And then here was the second of the touchdown runs. Ingram involved as well. And the Rockets flying high at the half, 14-0.
Bojangles Friday Night Rivals Halftime, brought to you by Asheville Chevrolet.
Welcome back to the Asheville Chevrolet Halftime Show here on Friday Night Rivals. Joining us are the proud, longtime, and happy sponsors from Asheville Chevrolet, Stan Anders and Bobby Roussel. And tonight, folks, we're joined by a special guest, Miss Ashley Bland from Blue Ridge Health. Lady and gentlemen, good to have you all on the show tonight.
Hey, glad to be here.
Of course. Now, you know, no great game is complete without the Bobby Roussel football assessment. So tell me, Bobby, what were your thoughts on the first half of the game?
Well, it's been kind of one-sided, but hopefully Asheville can come back and do something after half.
All right, and we're going to be looking forward to it. We're going to hold your feet to the fire on that prediction as well. Now, Stan, I turn to you on this one because, next week, next Thursday is the big event. What is the official name of this event? And furthermore, what is the special significance of it?
Well, it's a breast cancer awareness night. It's going to be a lot of fun. You know that because you've been to the last one.
That's right.
And we're going to start at 5:30 and go all the way to 8:30. Chevrolet's going to send us a special edition Camaro right there on the showroom floor. Chef Bobby's going to be cooking his jambalaya in the cauldron right on the showroom floor. We got over 30 silent auction items, including a pair of suite passes and parking pass to the Tennessee-Georgia football game. So we're going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be live music, and it's free to the public. Ask everybody to come out and join us.
It does sound like an exciting event. I'm looking forward to that homemade jambalaya. It's going to be delicious, Bobby. Now, Ashley, let's talk for a second. Can you share with us your special relationship with Blue Ridge Health in regards to Asheville Chevrolet for next week's event?
Yeah, so Blue Ridge Health will be there, and we just want to stress the importance of getting your mammogram early. And then that way we can, do screenings for your mammogram so we can detect cancer prior to it getting to the advanced stages.
Indeed, it's a very noble effort. Stan, I turn to you on a more serious note because you shared with me in the past, you are in fact a cancer survivor, and you also were somebody who benefited from early detection. Can you talk to us about that for a second?
Well, it's very important. I remember it was like a gut punch when I was told that I had cancer, but I caught it early, and so everything worked out fine with the treatment. And that's what we're talking about with the mammograms. We want people, like last year, we had some people that came and got mammograms. They caught it early, and now they're fine. So that's what it's all about.
Indeed. And just to be clear, now I know this is free next week, but this is also open to the entire public. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Everybody needs to come on down.
Everybody indeed. And before I let you guys go, I understand you have a special shout out, no better yet, 2 shout outs you want to give here tonight. What are they, Bobby?
Well, we got 2 graduates from HC Reynolds. We got Doug Morrow and Dan Cronin, who've been with us a long time, and we really appreciate them.
We love us some good shout-outs. So, gentlemen, on behalf of My 40 and Friday Night Rivals and obviously high school athletics, thank y'all so much for y'all's proud and long-standing support of Friday Night Rivals. We could not do it without you. And, Ashley, thank you for the great work that you're doing for Blue Ridge Health as well.
Thank you.
All right, folks. We look forward to seeing y'all next week at Asheville Chevrolet for the I Drive for Breast Cancer event. It's going to be a great one. We'll be back in just a moment.
Friday Night Rivals Scholar Athlete, brought to you by Arby's.
Welcome back to the Asheville Chevrolet Halftime Show here on Friday Night Rivals. Joining us is our Arby's Scholar Athlete winner from AC Reynolds High School, Miss Charisma Green. Charisma, good to have you on the show.
Good to be here. Thank you.
Of course, and congratulations on the win as well.
Thank you.
Now, from what I understand, like the name and like the term, you have all the academic charisma in the world. Miss 4.4 GPA, Miss National Honor Society, Miss I'm making straight A's in all my IB and honors courses, and also Miss I was ranked number 7th overall in my 2021-2022 academic class. Is all of that correct?
Yes, sir.
I mean, that is just remarkable academic work. What is the secret to academic success as well as maintaining it?
I would say just finding a good balance between school, sports, and just everything going on, and finding a good support system, because when you find that good support system, it takes a lot of pressure off of you and my family and my friends, and a lot of administration helps me with that.
That's outstanding. I like that. Now let's shift our focus to athletics. From what I understand, you are the queen of softball. You have racked up an array of accomplishments, and you also play volleyball as well. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about those two sports, including how long you played each one.
So I started playing softball when I was 3.
Okay.
So I've been playing around 14 years. And I started playing volleyball in 7th grade.
Okay.
So I've been playing around, I would say, 6 years.
Most impressive. Now, what are some of your post-high school plans? And they include playing both softball and volleyball.
So I haven't decided with athletics yet, but I definitely want to go somewhere 4-year in
University?
Yeah, university, and probably major in chemistry.
I got you. And outside of athletics and academics, you also find time to give back to the community, specifically to your church. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
What can you tell us about that very briefly?
So I go to Trinity of Fairview. I'm very involved with my church. We just took a mission trip to Chicago, and we do a lot of serving in like low income areas like Hillcrest. We went there, and then we're taking a mission trip over the summer to Puerto Rico.
Wow, that's pretty exciting. Well, what's good, Charisma? You are RB Scholar Athlete winner for this week. Congratulations.
Thank you.
RBs, we have the meets. We'll be back in just a moment. Hey, everybody. I'm Nelson Weston. Thank you all so much for tuning in to Friday Night Rivals. Joining us today is our longstanding good friend all the way from Ingalls Markets, Melissa Leva. Good to see you, my friend.
Your football friend.
It's football friend indeed. Now, Melissa, speaking of football, I want to transition from football to the classroom, because you and I both know y'all have a famous program called Tools for Schools. And for those who are unfamiliar, how exactly does it operate on one hand, but on the other hand, more importantly, how do the good folks at home go about supporting it and getting involved today?
Oh, Nelson, it's really a wonderful program because it's geared toward the school and the needs that they have, that lots of times teachers will actually end up buying out of their own pocket.
Indeed.
You have an Ingalls Advantage card and a list of schools who participate in the Ingalls Tools for School program. Link your card to one of those schools, and every time you shop, you're earning dollars. At the end of the year, the school can go and purchase what items they need.
Oh, that sounds like an amazing and well-rounded program.
Right.
Now, Ingalls, y'all have provided robust support to the community for so many years now. We're talking high school athletics, college athletics, and everything in between. It does beg the fundamental question, why? Why is it so critical for y'all?
Well, it's not just sports, but it's also educational programs. But we're the home team. Ingalls is your hometown grocery market. So you are also supporting our home teams.
Of course.
It's really important for us to be a part of that community. We love being part of that, and we're blessed to be able to do that. Lots of those students work at our stores or graduated from those schools. We see these people in church. We see these people at work. This is a really big deal for us. Might be a big company to look at us from the outside in, but we like being beacons in our own communities.
Y'all are beacons indeed. All outstanding work. Now, Melissa, very quickly, you and I both know no great game is complete without delicious, mouthwatering good food. What are some of the most popular items on y'all's menu?
Oh my goodness, you have to start off with a wonderful boar's head sub, just absolutely good with all the trimmings, great fried chicken, all the sides you could possibly want, a wonderful salad bar, a wing bar, olive bar. I mean, I don't know if I could decide. I just have to go get a big old wheelbarrow and take it all there, plus all the things you need like chips and drinks and paper plates. One-stop shopping place for all your tailgating.
All fantastic work indeed. Well, Melissa, thank you so much for your time here today.
Thank you, Nelson.
All right. We'll be back in just a moment.
Well, we work our way back at it. Second half right around the corner from the Zeb Lee press box. And Asheville, happy to have you with us on Bojangles Friday Night Rivals. Alongside Tom Ben Hoy, Jason Patterson here. Nelson Weston roaming the sidelines for you. And he has caught up with Asheville head coach. And let's now get the thoughts on the Carolina Furniture Concepts Coach's Corner.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Jason. This is the Coach's Corner, brought to you by Carolina Furniture Concepts. So, Coach, you guys had a very fast-paced first half. It's been a great rivalry match like we all hoped it was going to be. Both sides, we see momentum swing back and forth. It does beg the question, what was the message to the boys in the locker room on one hand, but on the other hand, what can we expect in the second half of the game from your team, Coach?
I just hope to keep fighting, keep punching. That's a huge stop by the defense right there before halftime. You know, offensively, we got to keep – I mean, we keep shooting ourselves in the foot. We're in first and 15. We're in second through 25. We can't do that to ourselves. So, you know, the biggest thing is I want to see us not, you know, just keep punching. That's our thing. Keep punching, you know, try to land one, and then let's make this thing a game.
All right, Coach. Good luck to you and your boys in the second half then. Yes, sir. Back to you, Tom. Back to you, Jason.
All right, Tom. Coach Court Radford, very clear. He was pleased with what his team was able to do to close out the half. Looking for carryover on a full moon night in western North Carolina.
Bojangles Friday Night Rivals Halftime, brought to you by Asheville Chevrolet.
Well, here's a look back at some of the premier moments from that first half, and guess what? Patterson provided the first.
Yeah, Tyvon Patterson goes 34, then he goes 2 for the first touchdown of the night.
This was just the start for Reynolds. That capped a 10-play, 67-yard, 4-minute, 42-second drive. Heavy lifting done on that second drive, not only on the run to get down there, but on the run to complete it by Malik Ingram, Tom.
Yeah, able to get a chance. The third running back we saw in the first half. Nice sidestep there to get to the end zone.
That was 6 plays, 53 yards, a minute 23. It looked like there was going to be a third touchdown for Reynolds toward the end of the first half, but after deciding to tuck it, go for the goal line, ball popped out on a big lick from C.J. Fleming, and that held things steady at 14.
Yeah, one fumble recovery versus another fumble recovery.
Here's a look at the first half stats. What jumps off the stat sheet?
Well, you look at how well they've done defensively. AC Reynolds holding Asheville to 75 total yards in the first half. And then you see Reynolds able to get it going on the ground with 116 and 177 total there. You're not going to have the ball very much in the first half. You look at the number of possessions there, and so that becomes a critical factor in the ball game as well. But a good defensive effort to keep Asheville to 75 in the first half.
Yeah, something to build on for Asheville, too, at the end of that first half. With the stop they came away with, much different than a 21-0 hole, particularly when you consider Asheville won the toss, elected to defer. They get the football, Tom. It could be a one-possession football game if Asheville goes on the march.
Yeah, that was huge, and we saw the two plays there, the good penetration and knock it out of there on Asheville and come up with the football at the 9-yard line, and eventually the hit of the goal line, C.J. Fleming and company there to keep them out. So, yeah, the way it played out there could have been 21-0 and 14-0 right now. You get the football to start the second half and see if you can get something going. And again, not many possessions there in the first half for both teams.
It was Edwin Santiago who had the big hit that kind of created the opportunity for Reynolds at the end of the half. But again, that answered by C.J. Fleming made all the difference. A lot of the big licks in that first half, though, from likes of Guest and Hines, and we'll see what the Asheville Cougars have in store offensively and what we'll get from the Reynolds defense as the third quarter is now underway. That goes into the end zone. And here comes for Asheville, Meek Slidell. Slidell getting set to lead that first drive of this second half of action. Took a quick glance at what he's been able to do so far in the passing department. Slidell completing 7 of his 9 in that first half for 56 yards. That's his individual number as he starts things here in the third. Pressure coming, able to sling it out of there before it arrives, and he gets a connection with Kaheem Plummer. Plummer up across the 25 to the 28-yard line. Plummer been one of the favorite targets tonight.
Yeah, quick toss out on the edge there. The unblocked defender coming in, got rid of it. Daniel Angulo will eventually make the tackle over that way, but a good first down call. Good yardage.
Plummer able to make the reception. Matching his jersey number for the second time again, having been targeted a number of times tonight. He, Williams, Jones, Ellis, Codrington, and of course Morgan, who had a couple of receptions, all responsible for catching passes for Asheville thus far. It's going to be kept across the 30 up to around the 32-yard line. Coming out of there, relinquishing the football is Plummer one more time. Talk about rushing, Tom. The 32 yards in the first half. And Plummer, the one, double digits. He had 11 of them on 3 carries. So he's been used more than one way in this football game tonight by Asheville. Critical first drive of the half and able to throw that just over in behind the defense, but it's also over in behind his intended target, C.J. Morgan. And it is incomplete. Just referenced Morgan, talking about the fact that he was the only player that, besides Nick Williams, that called more than a single pass in that first half. And tried to make it his third of the night, but it was out of his reach.
Yeah, you mentioned Plummer, and also Josh Ellis has been to as a running back spot, and Nick Williams as well, in addition to being in the receiving game as well. So trying to get something going there. I like the first down pass play, got 8. That set some things up, and now you're a little bit behind the chain to a certain extent on 2nd and 10.
Going to have to get rid of this quickly, and it is at the feet of his intended target. Tried again to connect with C.J. Morgan. You see Morgan's reaction to that. He knew that there was potential for a whole bunch there had the connection been made.
Too much pressure. I mean, he's tried to get it to him, but sometimes you don't have time to throw the football with everybody coming on and the pressure there. And
had the defender in the general area there a few yards beyond, but he was turned, so there was a chance to maybe make something happen. Had the football been caught cleanly by C.J. Morgan. Instead, a 3rd down and 10. Again, first possession of the half and a chance for Asheville to cut the lead in half if they had been able to go on the march on this drive, but it'll be up to this 3rd down to make that reality. Slidell is going to be blocked off pretty nicely and able to get up near the marker. I think he's going to be about a yard. Well, where they spot this, where he's finally brought down, is going to be very close to the marker as Jeremiah Jones, the senior, gives the football up. This is just shy of the 41, and it would appear they needed to get to the 41, but we'll see how close this really is.
Got a really good job. Sold it to the wide side of the field, and you come back and had a blocker out in front there. You look right all the way, and then nice toss, good deft touch there.
It is going to be 4th down. Well, nope. They put the 4th down marker up and then indicated that they're going to say it was enough for the first down. So great play for Asheville. A nice spot. It's a Hendersonville Family Dental first down at the 41. That's gathered up far side by Williams. And Williams going to make something out of it after all as he gets up to the 43. Kareem Williams with a bit of a catch-your-breath moment, but he keeps it moving forward here for Asheville.
A backward pass so you can pick it up. And, you could see that developing. He was looking back and the whole time he was running. So it's going to come to him. And really did a nice job of getting it and working upfield a little bit, or it could have been kind of disastrous.
Yeah, third down conversion just prior to that. Then he is able to get it out to Kareem Williams. But again, after things didn't go according to plan right away, was able to make something out of it. They go with trips down toward the bottom of this formation. All kind of options are going to be there from a throwing standpoint this time around for Slidell. But before the play is off, whistles again.
Yeah.
Looks like the clock ran all the way down that time, Tom. Delay is going to back Asheville up a bit.
Yeah, you're in a situation where you talk about execution. We see Court Radford there in his 4th year, and then at Irwin and Chase as well. And very varied and successful background for that young man. But we talked about execution, and that one you're already having some difficulty trying to get to some kind of a sustained drive the entire night long, only 75 yards in the first half. But that puts you back at 2nd and 12 and 2nd and long. Changes what you want to do.
Didn't mind 3rd and long the last time around. Let's see if they can do something from distance this time. This will help. Big cut inside from C.J. Morgan. And Morgan is going to make the 3rd down manageable now as he works up near midfield at the 48-yard line. Boy, the work Morgan does after the catch here and the block that sealed it off, very nice.
Yeah, he turned it back inside, and Ty Johnson over there on that side of the football as well comes up and makes the tackle. Made a man miss. That's a long developing play as well, and takes time for it to get going, but got to make that catch and turn it up. Did a good job.
Harlan Dempsey also fighting to make sure there was plenty of space for the receiver, C.J. Morgan. Going to be 3rd down and 3. Now rushing near side. That's a 1st down and then some into Reynolds territory at the 45. So although this drive was a little bit slow getting started, all of a sudden Kaheem Plummer and company are moving the chains with another Hendersonville Family Dental 1st down and are into Reynolds territory. But we have a rocket down, and we will break away while we check on the status of the injured AC Reynolds player. Well, they work Naeem Mohammed off the field as he is going to be helped off by the training staff for AC Reynolds. Good to see that he is up and moving around now, Tom. Another player shaken up here. Here's a look back at what happened.
Yeah, hard run up inside and a couple blockers out in front and kind of got caught up in the wash there. And back behind the play, you see, I think you see it there. Yep. Just to everybody kind of rallying to the football. And I think he got kind of flipped from behind there.
A little bit of an extended delay while certainly try to see to his status. 9th play when they get back to work here coming up on an Asheville drive that, Tom, again, I'll go back and kind of underscore it. Slow developing out of the gate here in the 3rd quarter, but all of a sudden rolling up 1st down after 1st down and now into Reynolds territory on a drive that could make this a 1-possession football game.
I mean, it's taken a while to go from the 20 to where we are right now, but I think this is
it's of no matter if it goes up on the board, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's imperative on a drive like this that you get something on the board having kept the ball away from AC Reynolds. You're doing what you needed to do, and you need to finish it off. You still have a ways to go, though. I mean, you're at the 46-yard line, but so far it's been a good drive and under a couple of little adverse situations with yardage and downs.
Well, they have it at the 45-yard line of the Rockets. And rushing it near side again, still up. And going to cut inside the 35 and down around the 33-yard line. Enjoying the end of the play as well. Look at Nick Williams make this a monster effort on the run. Williams continuing to weave through traffic.
Couple of opportunities with the pass we saw earlier, and now with Williams is making guys miss and yardage after contact. Nice job on this drive.
13 for 3 on a Hendersonville Family Dental first down. Got a longer way to run in order to get to some kind of opening here. And that's going to be stacked up just shy of the line of scrimmage. They tried to give it to Nick Williams one more time. Went back to the well, but this time AC Reynolds was waiting. 7 and change remaining third quarter. After a couple of stoppages here, right at the beginning of this drive, double-digit play total on this drive for Asheville. And boy, so important now for the Cougars that they find a way to get into the end zone, and that's going to take this rivalry game, ratchet the intensity up another notch in this third quarter if Asheville can capitalize on this drive. And here's a tough moment. It is snapped over the head of the quarterback, but alertly just falling on the football is Josh Ellis. The junior gets back there and smothers it, Tom. And yeah, a lot of yards lost there, but Ellis made sure it was just the loss of yards and not the loss of possession.
Yeah, that is a nice play because your first thought is, I'm going to pick it up and get some of that yardage. The number one thing is to make sure you secure the football, and he did. So that's a nice job by Ellis to go get it. You never know how it's going to bounce, and it just kind of launched over the head of the quarterback, slide down there.
Tough moment on what was looking to be a promising possession for Asheville. And timeout is going to be called with the ball at the 49-yard line. We'll take it as well, just ahead of third down and long on a key drive for the homestanding Cougars.
Keep an eye on the Ingalls Market Field Goal Challenge. For every field goal scored in this game, Ingalls will be donating $100 to the Boys and Girls Clubs of North Carolina. Good luck to all the athletes participating in tonight's game from Ingalls Market, where your savings say something.
Well, at some point tonight, the Ingalls Field Goal Challenge will be in effect. Ingalls Markets, as they have across the course of the season, will be continuing to impact the community as they will be providing $100 to each field goal made as the Ingalls Market Field Goal Challenge is in effect time and again. Ingalls Market's making sure they take good care of the surrounding community. And again, that's true on every field goal across the course of the year, the Ingalls Market's Field Goal Challenge. Tom, big third down coming here. 3 for 4 on third downs tonight on the Asheville side of things.
We talked about execution and had a little bit of a problem there on the snap, and now you've got a long way to go. You're back near midfield at this point. You've had the ball the entire third quarter, so we'll see what dials up right here on third and a bunch.
This is working across the 50 to the 45 on the other side, but falls incomplete. And that was tipped up there at the line of scrimmage. So able to deflect that. And now all of a sudden, 4th down coming here.
They wanted to get it out in a hurry and maybe try to make something happen there, but a nice read and able to leap up there was Cam McDowell. A nice play to almost had a great chance for an interception there. 6'3", 195. Good looking defensive end, the senior.
Into the air, the return man waving fair catch at the 21-yard line, and that's where Reynolds will take over. Boy, Tom, one of those drives, Asheville feels about this drive the way Reynolds felt about the final opportunity at the end of the half. It really was trending toward a very positive moment for Asheville to cut the lead in half, get it to 1 possession. It's not to be, and now the defense got to shake that and turn the page here and not let Reynolds get away from it.
Yeah, this is a game right now anyway that you can't afford to make any mistakes, and Asheville did a couple despite a good drive, and now the defense has to get after it pretty good here.
Reynolds looking to do something for the first time since things did not. You got to realize, you got to remember, it's been a long, long time since Reynolds has been on the field with the football, right? Hard to put in perspective because you had the half, you had the lengthy possession there for Asheville. You had the way things ended at the end of the first half, and now here's Reynolds trying to turn over a bit of a new leaf. They go back to a familiar face in Patterson, who did so much of the work early on for this Reynolds squad. Had the initial touchdown. This time pass out far side, able to put the hand down, try to make some room back into the interior is Wesley Rumbo. And he's going to be up near the sticks, going to be about 3 or 4 yards maybe still needed here for AC Reynolds.
Kareem Williams read that. Nice job. Just kind of hung on there, holding on to the jersey, but it's a backward pass as well. And made that catch. And here came Williams. Slipped down a little bit. Hang on. Help's coming. So he did a nice job there to make that play. Ball came out, I think, after he'd hit the ground.
Now, once it was on that turf, here comes the 3rd down play. They're going to call it 3rd and 3. And timeout is being called for before this key 3rd down. This is going to be taken by Reynolds. So the Rockets wanting to talk things over here. Well, Rockets, again, trying to make their mark for the first time here in the second half on this possession, and trying to make their mark in this game, Tom, with a mind toward the future of what they expect to be another lengthy season just down the road over at AC Reynolds.
12-2, 4th round of the playoffs last year, lost that tough game to Weddington, and we talked about their difficult schedule earlier this year, and you can see the conference championship, what they've been able to do, and they're always in the mix. And lost at West Forsyth, lost at East Forsyth, and by 1 and 6 points respectively. And those are teams ranked 7-14 and 4A. And again, Reynolds has dropped down to 3A again. And there may be some reclassifications coming up in a couple of years as well here in the state of North Carolina and Watauga. That was a 1-point game as well. They're ranked 18th. So you look at the 3-3 as probably not indicative of the type of team that they have and can have throughout the course of the year. And it's an Asheville defense that's done a really good job against the AC Reynolds team that averages 33 points per game. And it's also an Asheville team that has given up a lot of points this year to some very fine teams as well.
Well, you saw with that graphic what it means historically. In the here and now, Patterson is loose down the far side, and he will not be caught. 2nd touchdown of the night for Tyvon Patterson. He's worked his way into double figures in that category in this game, and now he doubles his impact on this 69-yard run. Here is a look at Patterson loose and finding another gear when it mattered most, and the 3rd scoring drive of the night for AC Reynolds, capped on another Patterson touchdown run.
Call the timeout. Make sure you get what you want. It's a play, 3rd down and 3, and you want to make sure you get the 1st down, but then you end up with another 66 down to that as once he got into the secondary, able to accelerate and nick the distance for the touchdown.
Think about what it meant to Asheville there, Tom. A 3rd and 3 stop, an entirely different ball game. Instead, Patterson's 2nd touchdown run of the night, just like that. He glanced up, and Reynolds is starting to pull away a bit. Got a player down at the 41. on the other side of the field. Training staff, unfortunately, have been very busy tonight on both sides, and everything being held up for the moment is, once again, another of our coaches having to make the long walk to check on an injured player. On this occasion, Court Radford. Looks like there's no real reason for extended concern, as Nick Williams is now up under his own power.
Big play right there. You talked about defensively, Asheville had done a pretty good job against the AC Reynolds tonight, who came in averaging 33.2, and it was an Asheville team that had given up of course, you play Providence Day 47-7. You play Lake Norman, who's number 17 at 3A, 34-7. Then David Bennett's for about 8,000 in Kings, Tennessee, and they're ranked 19 in 6A in the state of Tennessee. So gave up a lot of points in those games, but came back, beat Irwin 29-15, and going against this Reynolds team that puts points on the board. So up until that point, it's now a 20-0 ball game with 4:18 to go in the third quarter of play. But a huge play in this game, and tell you what, there's so many swings of emotion that we've seen in this game alone here tonight, and how it could go. That's why, they always talk about next play. It's easier said than done.
Well, it's been done tonight on so many levels by a guy who you just saw make that run, Patterson, as he has once again found the end zone for Reynolds, and before the extra point can be punched through, we get a flag down as the start of that play looked less than full of the normal rhythm that you expect here on the extra point. Instead, they will line up and get set to do it again. So after a 3-play, 77-yard drive that took just over 90 seconds to complete, after that key defensive stand for Reynolds, that was the offensive impact. 3 plays, 77 yards, 131. And it is finished off with the extra point, which is true. 12 carries, 140 yards, 2 touchdowns tonight for Patterson. He and his team up front now by 3 scores. Well, the Asheville Smiles Cosmetic and Family Dentistry Smile Camp coming to you from Asheville High on this night. Always plenty to smile about when these rivals, Rockets and the Cougars, get together in a key Mountain Athletic Conference showdown. And, well, they're smiling a little more also, those who are at home watching this from a Reynolds perspective. If you're wearing the green and gold, a little easier breathing now all of a sudden, Tom, as the lead has been stretched to 3 scores with the 3-play, 77-yard drive that Patterson capped off. 131, the time that was taken there. And again, a couple of touchdowns for him tonight, already well up over 100 yards rushing. He's been the catalyst for this team. You have to say that the effort of Craig has been everything that you would expect it to be, that you would want it to be to this point. Craig, who completed more than 70% of his passes for 1,800 yards, 20 touchdowns, and just the 3 interceptions a season ago. And a guy who they talked about, would he pass for over 2,000 yards this year? One of the questions coming into the MAC season. And, well, one thing that may take a bite out of some of those passing yards is the ability he has to continue to hand it off to so many good backs. Patterson, one of those, as he showed again here.
Yeah, if you can run the ball like they do, that even sets up the passing game much more. And we mentioned on a couple of occasions, I mean, this is a Reynolds team that averages 115 rush per game. They're above that tonight in 158 pass. But they're a team that has rushed 53% of the time and thrown 47. So they're a balanced team. They can do it either way.
Cougars got to turn the page here all of a sudden. Asheville up across that A logo and up to the 28-yard line or so. That's where they will take over. You know, Tom, sometimes coaches tell us if you're not careful, once you're right there to try to close the game up and it doesn't happen, your opponent begins to slide away a bit. That's when it can unravel. This is one of those moments for Asheville that they have to find a way to kind of reapply that focus and make something happen on this drive, having been shut out thus far with 4:10 to play in the third.
And it's one of those things you worry a little bit about, the youthfulness of this Asheville team. The 2 seniors on offense, 4 juniors, 4 sophomores, and a freshman. They're young on that side of the football. They come in averaging about 15 points per game. You find yourselves down, and you're looking for some positives here.
Well, this may be one screenplay, but boy, is it read well. And having none of it as he works his way over there quickly, stays home, makes the tackle. That's Christian Lewis, who you've talked about on more than one occasion tonight. Makes a nice defensive play here.
Playing both ways, both sides of the football, and good block out on the edge, but able to cut back inside of that and make a fine individual tackle out of the edges. Young man you're looking at on the screen right there, Christian Lewis.
Takes care of C.J. Morgan. And it's for a loss, so second down from behind the sticks. Here's a pass zipped out. All the room that was made a moment ago. Josh Ellis finds some positive here. You remember the heads-up play that Ellis made. That last drive, when you look at it now at 21-0, Asheville was driving to try to make it a one-possession game. It was Ellis who had the heads-up play to go back. That difficult timing on the snap over the quarterback's head really what kind of took that drive and put it out of reach for Asheville.
Yeah, a couple of situations there where they had some positive plays, but along the way a negative play or two, particularly the big one you were talking about there, and eventually had to punt the football away.
And the game far from out of reach, but that's what put that drive in the end zone on that drive out of reach. This is going to make the first down a little more within reach for Asheville as the penalty walks it off to the 36-yard line, and now the Cougars are only going to need a handful on third down.
Yeah, that was a play out on the edge, and you wondered which way that was going to go from a penalty standpoint. And
yes.
The beneficiary of that was there.
And as a result, they face a third down, and they'll call it a long 3. Needing to cross over the 39-yard line. Backfield, slam full. And Reynolds keying on it. Will close off all the lanes near side, but how about the reversal? And he's got the corner. You always look for flags. Don't tend to see any here. And still on his feet inside the 30. Finally drugged down at the 20-yard line. It's another Kaheem Plummer moment. And Tom, this comes after he looked to be hemmed up on the near side. 44 yards later. It's a Hendersonville Family Dental first down.
Yeah, the way that one developed, you go, there's no way in heck, then what a remarkable job. When the banquet is held at the end of the year, they're going to be playing this one. Man, that's a remarkable run by a young man that didn't have anywhere to go, and just his ability to freelance and get it out of the edge and showed his acceleration. That's a big play right there.
44 is what he gets credit for. He ran about 60 just to get out of trouble and work his way back across to the corner. And now a little pass slung out right against the boundary on the far side. Able to slip through one, maybe 2 tacklers and get back near the marker is Keener as it's right at the First Bank red zone. Haven't told you tonight about the First Bank red zone. Need to go ahead and remind you that locations are all over the Carolinas. 21 of them in Western North Carolina, the upstate, 16 in Western North Carolina alone to serve you. That's First Bank, proud sponsors of the First Bank red zone. As you got another look at that, I know you were zeroed in on that play. Well done.
It looked like the official there might have taken one for the team, so to speak, but back up, good to see that. And I tell you, we've seen some really good individual plays by Asheville in terms of not going down and making something happen where there isn't anything there.
Timeout being taken as the First Bank red zone chance, sitting right on that 20-yard line, working into the red zone area for Asheville. Another promising drive for the Cougars as things will be talked over with 1:43 to play here in the third quarter. Take us inside the huddle here, Tom.
Well, you got to be able to get points on the board. 1:43 in the third quarter. You're down 21-0 at this point against a really good Reynolds team. You've had a couple of really big plays, good plays to provide that offensive opportunity for you right now. Last time we saw a couple of misfires on a long drive to begin the third quarter of play. You're in 4-down territory here, so you need to be able to get some points on the board.
Go down and check in with Nelson during this timeout. It's time for this week's check presentation.
Whenever you guys are ready, just let me know.
Let's go.
Thanks, guys. Welcome back to the halftime. Welcome back. I'm sorry to Friday Night Rivals here on once again Friday Night Rivals. We're here at Asheville High School. Got a little tongue-tied here, and that's what happens when you're standing next to some gorgeous cheerleaders right here. Ladies, on behalf of Friday Night Rivals, thank y'all so much for allowing us to be here tonight. We proudly present y'all a check for $500. Tom, Jason, back to you guys.
End zone shot, nearly picked off as stepping in front of it for Reynolds. Boy, what timely arrival you saw there for Reynolds as Austin Worrell was nearly able to snatch that out of the sky. And Tom looked for a moment as if it might be 6. Then it looked like for Asheville it might be disaster. In the end, it falls harmlessly to the turf and incomplete, but this had potential on both sides.
Yeah, took a shot deep, had him open momentarily. What a read, though, by the strong safety, Worrell, 5'10", 165. Second leading tackler coming in with 26. And if not, that's got a chance to be a touchdown.
Yeah, speaks to the nature of that play that Noah Shaw had the arms outstretched, the intended wide receiver, the intended target there. He thought that was going to come right into his grasp for a touchdown. Worrell nearly turned it into a turnover for Reynolds. This is set up beautifully underneath. Here's Morgan. Morgan still on his feet. Morgan to the end zone. Asheville on the board. It is C.J. Morgan into the end zone on the reception for the Cougars. He's doing the hard work with his legs after the catch. And Morgan a little bit slow to get up. In fact, they're calling for help from the sideline. He's there without his helmet now and looks to be in some kind of major pain. And this is an Asheville team that can ill afford to lose senior leadership like they have in C.J. Morgan, this young squad reliant so heavily upon a handful of upperclassmen who are the leaders. And you see him kicking that right leg, and there has to be some concern for Court Radford as he works his way over. Talk about taking the highest moment of the night and turning it into one of those that everybody in the stadium says, oh, let's take a look and see what the status is going to be of one of the great players in this game, C.J. Morgan.
Yeah, so 5'11", 152, senior, came in with 24 catches to lead the team in that category, and he has been elusive once he has gotten his hands on the ball here tonight. Meaning, again, once that pass, just flip it out there on the edge and let him do the rest of it. And it's been a couple of really highlight-type shots tonight for some of the players on this Asheville team when they have it out in opportunity to do something with it. And again, what we've seen out of Slidell, you saw it right there, and you also see the end result of the touchdown. His ability to adjust where he releases. He'll drop down a little bit, and
great point.
And it's not over the top. And he's done that on the side too when you try to get it out on the edge and some of those passes as well. But he had to drop down, and that's one of the things. And we've seen over the course of the last couple of years with quarterbacks, it's a little bit different situation. They're able to drop down and do some different things with the release point.
Keeping an eye right now on C.J. Morgan, who is down after scoring the touchdown, which capped the 6-play, 71-yard drive that, as Tom was telling you about, the QB, Slidell, was brilliant on leading this team on that march down the field. 20-yard touchdown toss to C.J. Morgan, but just as the celebration started, was certainly subdued by his the concern regarding his status. And as has been the case throughout the night, it looks as if Court Radford and company a bit relieved, as though he comes off holding that left side. C.J. Morgan You can see he's in some kind of pain there, but he is walking off without assistance. And that's certainly what you hope to see. So just inside of 90 seconds remaining in the third quarter, C.J. Morgan receiving the 20-yard pass that puts Asheville in the end zone. Cougars fans saying, man, a drive earlier, this is a whole different world. But they're back within 2 scores now at 21-6, and the extra point going to become important as the junior kicker, Seth Stein, punches it through, and Stein's kick makes it a 14-point game once more at 21-7 AC Reynolds. So Asheville will give those numbers to you one more time on a 6-play, 71-yard march, 3 minutes, 19 seconds off the game clock, and a 20-yard touchdown toss in the direction of C.J. Morgan. So just the drive Asheville have been looking for throughout the night, Tom.
Well, they needed that one, no question about that. And we heard from both coaches going in at half and coming out at half, and talking about from Asheville's standpoint, Edford wanted his team continue to fight. You see the pictures there of the young man. Take a look at him there on the sidelines.
C.J. Morgan injured on the touchdown reception as he worked his way into the end zone just a moment ago, and they continue to see to him under that tent. Again, we certainly hope there are no lasting effects for one of the premier performers on the Asheville side of things offensively. Well, something for the home fans to cheer about here as many of them found their way to their feet, certainly sitting up on the edge of their seats now and trying to will this defense to something positive. That's going to be kicked out of bounds. So great field position coming for AC Reynolds. And seems like we say this so often, Tom, but it's certainly true after the touchdown for Asheville that, now the defense is being called upon one more time. And, maybe it comes as no surprise. The last time we were here doing one of these, it was as defensive a football game as you're ever going to see. The defense has really shined that night.
I know you've done a lot of games, and so have I, but I don't think I've ever been involved in a 6-5 game that we saw.
I've been involved in a lot of 6-5 games, but they were played on a diamond with 3 bases and home plate. That's what made this one somewhat unique. You're exactly right, Tom. Here comes the first play of this drive, and this is going to be handed off in the heart of things and up across the 40 to the 42-yard line. What have you seen from the Asheville defense tonight that gives you hope in a moment like this?
Well, they've been able to make some tackles on the edge to a certain extent. The one big one they didn't make was the 69-yard run, but that was down the sideline and up inside. Patterson shown his versatility. They just need to be able to get some stops here and get them in a long down situations.
And again, another situation where a long time since Reynolds touched the football. So if you're AC Reynolds, a lot of weapons at your disposal here. There's one of them. Caught at the 45, inside the 40. That's going to be good enough for a Hendersonville Family Dental first down. As you were talking a drive ago about how Christian Lewis will be used both ways. And here's another visual reminder of just that, as he has the movement of the chains for Reynolds.
Yeah, just got lost there. He was the only one out that way, and nice soft touch by the left-hander to drop it in there.
It's going to be on the ground, just inside the left hash, far side. Continuing to strive forward. They come out of the pile, and that line making such work. He talked about how important the line play was going to be in this one tonight. On this occasion, they're making room for Jaden Smith, who has had his number called more than once. He may be the player who carries the final play of the third quarter. He will. It's Reynolds still up by the same margin they enjoyed at the half. Teams traded scores in the third. Here was Patterson's long run as Reynolds heads to the fourth in the lead.
Well, tonight's Henson's Mulch and More dirty jersey of the game. And it's going to be given to Brandon Guest. A little bit of difficulty on that play, but sometimes it's all about a hang with him. He bounced back nicely. One of the bigger hits of the night from Brandon Guest, and he's the recipient of our Henson's Mulch and More dirty jersey of the game. Boy, brought his game tonight, Tom Van Hoy.
Linebacker, 6 feet, 215, senior, leading tackler coming in. He had a couple of really hard hits that set the tone defensively for AC Reynolds early on in the ball game.
Reynolds carrying a 21-7 lead into the fourth period. They have outgained Asheville as a team, 282 to 195. If you're wondering how it's split for Reynolds, 210 yards on the ground, 72 yards through the air for the Rockets. It's been 85 on the ground, 110 through the air, as it has been flipped on the other side for Asheville. That's how things shake out as we begin the fourth period. This will pad those numbers through the skies and caught in the back of the end zone for a touchdown. As if you want to even up the numbers a little bit, it's a good start in that direction. Ty Johnson there to reel in the touchdown toss, and Reynolds back up to the high water mark for a lead standpoint with the United touchdown pending the extra point. It's now 27-7.
Key there, pump fake out on the edge. You're looking in as a D back. And then that's all it takes. It's just a little bit. And, man, there's the rainbow for the touchdown on stride.
38 later. Into the end zone for the touchdown. So those numbers we gave you through three quarters already adjusting. And that takes it up over 100 yards in the passing department on the night. And well up over 300 yards total for AC Reynolds. More importantly than all that, the lead back to 3 scores at 28-7 as you get to look at the southpaw turning it loose as it's caught by Johnson for a TD. Now Reynolds answers the Asheville score as they extend the lead back out to 28-7. 4 plays, 62 yards, minute 36. So let's walk through them now as you get one more glance at the touchdown catch. Ty Johnson, the nice footwork after the catch in the back of the end zone after getting in behind his man. And boy, you have to love the way this is tossed. Did we mention a lot of folks came into the year discussing would he pass for 2,200? Where would he be from a passing standpoint? It's because of smooth deliveries like the one you just saw right there.
He threw it out there, got air under it, let him run underneath it and make the catch. He sometimes can be the toughest one. He had a couple of strides on the defender there, but he was able to reel it in. And, you know, the effectiveness is the ability to run the ball inside. You know, we saw that with 31 from Patterson to get it down to the 2 before he scored. We saw it with 69 out on the edge that way. And, you know, we throw Lewis catch one on the sideline as well. I mean, just so many variations, different things they can do offensively that it makes it difficult to defend.
And as important as anything else, we'll go back there, circle all the way back around. They answered the Asheville scoring drive, the first of the night for the Cougars, and do so with that 4-play, 62-yarder. Doesn't take long for Reynolds to score, right? Minute 36, minute 31 on the previous scoring drive for Reynolds, minute 23 on the scoring drive before that for Reynolds. Yes, they had the 4-minute, 42-second drive when they first got on the board in this game, which reminds you that they can put together
a sustained moment, but haven't needed it in each of the last 3 scoring drives as they find their way back out front 28-7.
And it's so deflating after you've gotten the touchdown. If you can get a stop defensively and a lot of, ifs, buts, and so forth. And it didn't happen there. Good response by AC Reynolds and their ability to score very quickly. So Asheville controlled the ball in the tempo early in the third quarter, but find themselves down big now.
Well, and a little bit of trouble getting back to the line of scrimmage as the defense now swarming with a little bit of extra energy for Reynolds as well. And big time moment for Cam Smith as he shares the congratulations of his teammates after this.
Just nowhere to go. Nice job. Beat the defender out on the perimeter there. The defensive end is 6'3", 205 senior.
Look at Cam Smith right in the heart of things. One of the key elements of this Reynolds defense. On a spot where they're trying in this rivalry game to somewhat break the will of this Asheville squad by making time a major factor if they can turn the Cougars aside once more, and third down play coming that may very well determine just that as we dip inside of 11 minutes to play. Well, coaching them up, this young Cougars squad got his senior class, the group, the first senior class he'll graduate. It's been with him, talked about this group through all the issues that surrounded the pandemic pauses and what it did to high school football and the way they had to play alternate years. Trying to lean on this small group of seniors one more time on a young Asheville roster. And knowing now that something going to have to transpire fairly quickly in a positive direction if Cougars are going to avoid seeing things go Reynolds' way. And it looks like, Tom, a very good field position coming for Reynolds as a return man's going to be on the Cougars side of the 50 as this punt sets up.
Third down and long there, and decided to go after the quarterback and let it go over the middle and couldn't get the completion.
That's going to rattle around on that Asheville High logo and eventually be brought to a halt at the 46-yard line after a 34-yard punt. And here comes the Reynolds offense back on to the field. Well, to this juncture tonight, Hayden Craig, 9 of 11, 104 yards now, and the touchdown toss. The first 3 touchdowns happening on the ground, Tom, but he was able to get up over 100 yards and notch his first touchdown pass of the night, connecting with Ty Johnson just a little bit ago.
70% coming in, 12 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and continues to build on that tonight.
It's going to be stopped in the backfield before the original line of scrimmage is reached by Craig. Well, it's going to be an interesting run the remainder of this 2023 season when you talk about what's out in front of these two teams. And again, a lot of football left here, but a 3-score advantage for AC Reynolds now as we dip inside of 10 minutes to play. And things trending Reynolds in the game that always has major implications in the MAC, Tom.
Well, it does. And I mean, you're talking about here tonight, then home with Irwin, they'll go to TC Robertson. Robertson is also 2-0 on the year, and this is an Asheville team. They've got to turn it around after tonight, go right down to TC Robertson, who's been just outstanding so far this year.
Well, how about this? Far side just continuing to put together those moments, trotting back to the line is Jaden Smith here after you take a look at his good work. Look at this cut from Smith, and he stayed on his feet to move the chains with another Mills River Family Dental first down.
We talked about so much about Patterson, and justifiably so, Tyvon, the sophomore, and what he's been able to do tonight. But, Jaden Smith kind of gets lost in the shuffle a little bit. He's had a solid night tonight. That's a really good combination there. And then put Malik Andrum in there as well. Saw him score a touchdown earlier, so it's a pretty good situation they have in the backfield.
Well, and they find their way to call his number one more time and continue to try to dip this clock on down now all of a sudden after picking up that other first down. You just continued 20-plus yard run there, 20-plus here, 30-plus there. Then you had the big long run, the 69-yarder that you talked about that provided the first real scoring moment of this second half for Reynolds on the 3-play 77-yard drive. Now trying to back up that 4-play 62-yard drive with a 5th touchdown on the night. A little closer to it, perhaps. Second down play zipped out far side. Asheville there quickly to cover, but not before Wesley Rumbo has it. And a left-handed toss.
It's tough,
We
tough to defend. Yeah.
talked a lot about it tonight, but a couple of southpaws going head-to-head. How about
Well,
that?
yeah.
Not something you get every day. You have talked about how the quarterbacks kind of zip it out there. It's been interesting to see arm slots and everything else, but how about arm side? A couple of southpaws head-to-head tonight. Craig, take another look right here. Flag's going to be dropped on a false start, and we'll back up just a little bit this Reynolds offense. And this would be the one, as you kind of look at Shane Laws there, that may very well serve to put it at a distance that Asheville can't come back from here, Tom, if Reynolds can cap off this drive.
You know, Coach Laws and the success that he has had at AC Reynolds over the years in his 16th year, 27 overall. And just even though it's 28-7, he'll look back. He wants the team to play clean football, not make any mistakes, and made one there. And there's some things that he'll go back and you can look at it, you can work on.
Spinning, being driven forward to the point that the football came loose, and it's going to belong to Asheville. Well, the thought is not a bad one. Is you tried to come in and help if you're a part of that offensive group to push forward the ball carrier and make it as much of a positive gain for Jaden Smith as possible. But the ball comes out, and when it does, Asheville is all over it. You'll get one more look at the end of this. As actually, you get 2 players coming in there, and one of them, and the one you got to highlight here, the job that was done by Neziah Mills, the junior linebacker. He actually came in there with a head of steam, punched that out, and it's recovered by KJ Williams when all is said and done. So a great play on both sides by this Asheville D.
Yeah, Williams gets the credit there to a certain extent because it'll show up as a fumble recovery. But, boy, what a big hit there by Mills to jar that ball loose, and another good defensive play there to keep him out.
Yeah, Neziah Mills. And how many times, in the first half when it looked like Reynolds was going to go up 3 scores at 21-0 heading in their intermission, and here when it looks like they're going to be able to put together perhaps their largest lead of the night, both times, Tom, the Asheville defense has said, wait just a minute. Don't get ahead of yourself. This thing's not going to happen just yet. So the ball game far from over and a long way to go for Asheville, but they have snatched possession back away from Reynolds.
And the key there, Mills did not give up on the play and able to knock it loose and come up with the football.
Feet in his own end zone and firing it out of there, but just out of the reach of his intended target, Tremaine Keeter. Yeah, here's the end of that play, and boy, you see the arrival just when it needed to be, and Neziah Mills jarring it loose, KJ Williams to fall on it. Nice play.
Just spinning all the way around. He came in backside and got him like right about the shoulder pad. It's just he was spinning a little bit there and lost control of the football.
Yeah, apologies. Initially thought perhaps the offense, you saw an offensive player coming in there too, work their way in at the same time, but that was just a phenomenal play by Neziah Mills. As a result, Asheville has the football, but plenty of work for the Cougars to do with 7:20 to play. Well, you can use your advantage at Western Carolina University. High-quality education, never more affordable, thanks to the NC Promise tuition plan. North Carolina residents, $500 tuition per semester for a degree that prepares you for a thriving future at Western Carolina. And there's a look at our Western Carolina fans of the game. Western Carolina, a proud sponsor of Friday Night Rivals, partner of Friday Night Rivals over the years. Catamounts playing some really good football themselves.
They are.
Not far away from here to start 2023. Out in Cullowhee in the Southern Conference. 20 seconds past 7 minutes left on the game clock. Standing in his own end zone, getting ready to start this. By the way, Tom, we should mention final timeout called by Asheville there. So when you talk about the tough challenge that's in front of the Cougars, not only 7:15 to play, they need 3 scores. They're backed up in the shadow of their own goal line, taking snaps from the end zone. But it's going to be difficult because they're unable to stop the clock the rest of the way as well.
Yeah, you need to take advantage of what you have here, but that was a circumstance where we have seen the last couple possessions where defensively they've decided to really get after the quarterback and didn't have much of an opportunity to throw the ball then.
Under pressure, and there's that little sidearm zip out to the 19-yard line. That's good enough for a first down. Moves the chains with a Mills River Family Dental first down out to the 19. So unfazed with the ball backed up in the end zone is Meek Slidell, who connects here.
Man, that's a great shot there, and just kind of sliding under control, drops down, sidearm, and made a big play.
With Addison Kane for the first down there. Here is another toss. This time he was trying to hit Williams, but that's out of his reach. And beyond the boundary. 6:44 to play. Boy, that connection. Kane so key. See just how far out of Williams' reach that last toss was.
We talked about Meek Slidell having played as a freshman, and that's very difficult to do, particularly that position. But Coach telling us this week that, you know, he's a football guy. He's been around it as a ball boy since he was 7th grade and been around the program a lot.
Yeah. Living the dream in his sophomore season. Consider watching so many of the athletes that have come through here. It's a storied athletic tradition from Charlie Choo-Choo Justice on. It is one of the places that you think about those who've played here, those who've been a part of this program over the years. And to wear those colors, be in that uniform, and to have a chance to grow into your career this early and put up some pretty impressive numbers perhaps across the course of your tenure as the field general for this program. It's something special, Tom.
Yeah, anytime you come in here and probably anywhere, Reynolds, et cetera, you can look who has come before you, and you always want to have that opportunity to put the jersey on and play for your school.
In behind those 3 wide receivers, this is going to be sent on downfield and arriving just in time to break that up and turn it aside is Ingram. Ingram, who's been effective on both sides of the football tonight for Reynolds, here with the breakup of the pass for the Rockets.
Tell you what, Slidell hung in there. Once he let it go, he got unloaded. We'll get a look at it here. And from the backside, and let it go. Pretty good timing there. Ingram got there.
See the arrival. Here's a look at the hit one more time. Just kind of caught it right before the turn toward the receiver. Withstood a major lick there. But to his credit, young man pops right back up to his feet. 17 of 27 for 138 yards and a touchdown. Those are pretty good numbers, Tom. Yes, the scoreboard kind of trending the other direction. But 138 yards, a touchdown for him tonight. When you consider the type of pressure he's been under from this Reynolds defense, it's been something to watch.
Tell you what, he's been kind of fun to watch tonight. And, you know, young guy still developing. Friday night under the lights and played as a freshman, but we have seen it in the development of quarterbacks across the country. The ability to drop down, do some things. He's been effective.
Take a look at our drive of the game from this night, and we're going to go with the answer to the Asheville scoring drive. Right after Asheville scored to tighten things up just a little bit, Reynolds went on the march. 4 plays, 62 yards, minute 36 seconds. A lot of different flavors on this drive that ended in the lone touchdown pass of the night to Ty Johnson for Reynolds.
Yeah, you run it up the middle, then you throw it on the edge of the tight end, and then you fake one on the edge on a quick toss and go deep.
And that is our Prestige Subaru drive of the game. Well, timeout taken by Reynolds here at 28-7 with 5:54 to play. Asheville having used all theirs. Reynolds almost now having used the full extent as well, long before we get into the closing stages of this contest. And Reynolds, as they have been since the second period, in command of this. And how about this? Take a look at the work on the far side. Going to end up being a Mills River Family Dental first down. As guess who's inserted into the thick of things here? Kaheem Plummer. Plummer is going to end up rushing forward. And Tom, I'll be if they don't convert this thing.
How about that 4th and 6? And you know, you love the play call, and you're probably, if you're on the AC Reynolds side, you know, probably disappointed that occurred because that's what could happen. But, you know, good execution. We talked about that. That was well done on Asheville's part.
Well, like you say, I'll be dog. Take a look there. There they go up the far side. And it's Asheville showing tremendous fight toward the end of this thing. And, man, it just really impresses you what Plummer has been able to do. It impresses you the play call there for Asheville. Not a night when they're going to concede and kick the football away, but a night when the Cougars are going to keep fighting and work their way up to what's going to be a 2nd down and 10 from the 41.
I mean, a little bit of sense of urgency here, I would think, you know, down 28-7.
And not only that, but that's an effective moment and an in-game experience against your rival. Something to perhaps build on as you move forward, though obviously they're thinking about right now trying to close it up to a couple of scores, even though it's a tall task, considering what we talked about with the stop of the clock and other issues. Here comes the flag. May help a bit at the 46-yard line. And you see the reaction from Jeremiah Jones. He looks on as our officials get set to walk this off with just over 5 minutes to play. Here's another glance at it. It's once again running for his life to some degree. Slidell, to your point, Tom, just kind of zips it out of there one more time.
I see Hines there. We had the fumble recovered earlier in the ball game, and from that vantage point, maybe he had the hand on the back a little bit early.
Well, you saw those reactions. And you know what Reynolds' perspective certainly was in that moment. 3 quick drives for Reynolds, the one sustained drive, which put Reynolds on the board in the first quarter. It all adds up to a 3-score lead now, though Asheville with a fresh set of downs. And this is set up underneath. It is Jeremiah Jones, and Jones finds some room on the outside. Jones is at the 10, and he's going to be tripped up. And out at the 6-yard line, Jeremiah Jones and company, you would say now, Tom, as this group begins to work their way toward the goal line. And I'll say it one more time, no lack of fight in the Asheville Cougars. And there's another of those zip passes from Slidell.
I'll tell you, that's, you know, middle screen there. We've seen tremendous pressure on the quarterback here in the second half. A great call. They were coming after him and just dump it over the middle. The lineman got out there, got it blocked, able to cut off of that. And big gain.
39 yards. That's how big the gain. And they're in the First Bank red zone. First Bank red zone locations all around Western North Carolina, the upstate of South Carolina to serve you. And another trip through here to try to serve the Asheville fans by this Cougars squad. Here's Plummer still up to around the 7. He tried to get back to the line of scrimmage, but Asheville finding a number of Reynolds defenders over there, having sealed this off fairly nicely. And looked to be in the end Cam Smith, among others, who was in there. See, little display of sportsmanship there in this rivalry. Brandon Guest reached out, helped the ball carrier to his feet.
Look at Smith. He's a nice-looking ball player. We haven't seen that, a little bit of an option there tonight, and they did a pretty good job defending that.
Asheville threatening again. It's taken a lot of time, though, for the Cougars to get down here in striking distance. Slidell, a little sidearm that hits the foot of the official on the boundary. And the clock stops with 3:28 to play. He's a gunslinger,
Yep,
Tom.
just rolling right and had a man open, but just missed him.
Old West style as he just kind of rolls outside the pocket and fires away. We've been impressed tonight with the work of Meek Slidell. And when you think he's going to have so much time as well to grow into it from his 10th grade year up, and a lot of season left in this one as well to get there, it may very well be that you're looking at the beginning stages of one of the outstanding careers here in Western North Carolina. Only time will tell that one. Looks back, sends this far side, but just couldn't quite hang on. Jeremiah Jones this time.
Man, had a chance there. Keem coming over and had a blocker out in front of him there, but just a little bit low and couldn't handle it.
Everything riding on this for now for Asheville is the 4th down and goal play after they were set up at first from the 6. The 4th is going to come from the 7. And 1 for 1 tonight when rolling the dice on 4th down. Cougars come up to the line. Have to have this to keep hope alive, to try and somehow regain a couple of possessions after it. Little trickery, well executed, as it is caught in the end zone for a touchdown by C.J. Morgan. Well, tossed out. They get Morgan in behind the defense. Left back pass action. And a United touchdown to boot. Take a look at this. Little swing out to Plummer, who takes care of the rest.
That is well done. I'm telling you, you throw it out there and you think he's going to turn it up. Everybody coming toward him. And you look back in. That happens sometimes. And just well executed, well done for the touchdown.
You know, you thought, Tom, we were maybe going to see that earlier as Seth Stein gets ready to try and punch this through to make it 28-14. Asheville able to execute to perfection here. And the Cougars still battling. Stein's kick is straight up and through. They keep hope alive at 28-14. But now, with no timeouts and 3:19 to play, at some point here, they're going to rely heavily upon the kicking unit to provide him a possession or two that they're going to need in order to try to pull out one of the great comebacks in this rivalry.
Just an excellent play call there. You go back to the 4th down in their own territory and able to pick it up at 4th and 6. Everybody coming. The old end over end, it doesn't matter it's how, but how many, right? And that's worth 6.
Well, is there a requirement you got to throw it left-handed tonight? Is that in the book somewhere? You look at that nice toss from Plummer that gets the job done. You know, Tom, they go 99 there.
Yeah.
10 plays.
Wow.
4 minutes, 6 seconds. But don't let it be lost on you that they go 99 after they were able to take away what was going to be perhaps the nail in the final nail in things. And the exclamation point for Reynolds. Asheville turns that aside, and they drive the length of the field in order to put up their second touchdown of the night, cut the gap to 28-14.
Yeah, I tell you, 2 4th down conversions there. The big one was 4th and 6 in their own territory, and then a little bit of adversity along the way, but just an excellent play call there, and got what they wanted off of that, and able to get the touchdown and get within 28-14. And Coach was talking with Nelson about we want to continue to fight, play hard, and they've had opportunities where Reynolds really could have put some distance between them, but they've hung in there.
You know what's coming here as they need possessions and have no timeouts. And here is the squib on the ground for the onside try. It is smothered, covered up beautifully as the job is done on special teams by Lowe to get the job done and make sure it stays with Reynolds. Well, a reminder, we will cross over the state line, be in Spartanburg County next week. The Vikings welcome in the Gaffney Indians, another of the great rivalries in the Carolinas. You know, you talk about the close proximity between these two, and you think about all the old days between Gaffney and Spartanburg, and it will be a lot of fun to be at Viking Stadium next Friday night for the latest edition of Gaffney Spartanburg. Hope to have you with us on Friday Night Rivals. This kept on the ground. Around the corner they go. Upended and cut a cartwheel. The ball carrier, Ingram, who had a touchdown run earlier tonight. Patterson, a couple of touchdown runs. Ingram, a touchdown run. Ty Johnson, the touchdown catch. That's how the work has been done for Reynolds. But look at the end of this play. He is really flipped up in the air at the end of this thing.
Came in low, man. You hope there doesn't get hurt.
Yeah, it may become completely down on that helmet, which is a good thing. And he's popped back up. And he's back in the backfield, which is exactly what you want to see. There is a flag down, and add a little bit of insult to that. This is going to be against Reynolds. And so they're going to back the Rockets up a little bit here with 3:10 to play.
It's Caden Ray who came in and made that play. Another one of the young players, a sophomore. And you were talking about Gaffney and Spartanburg this week in 5A in South Carolina. Gaffney 4, Spartanburg 6, and they're out of that 5A Region 2, and Burns is number 3. I mean, it's a tough league.
Those two just a couple of years removed from playing for the Upper State Championship for the right to go to the state title game. More than one occasion, that's been the case. Coming near side and rushing inside Asheville territory, almost down to the 40-yard line. You think there were any effects of that for Ingram? Not so much. He's right back at it. We've seen that a couple of times tonight. Speaks to the toughness of so many of these athletes. Is right after something didn't go their way, the end of it, you wonder how they're going to respond. Give them the football right back. They do so with Ingram here. And again, touchdown run already for him tonight. 3 on the ground, 1 through the air. And I got to ask you as we close in on the final 2.5 here. Mills River Family Dentistry first down play. Seeing Patterson, who got it all started, carry it forward on the ground again here. He has a couple of touchdowns tonight. What's impressed you about Reynolds, Tom?
Well, they've been able to do a number of different things offensively. They can run it. You can see here late in the game, they were able to run it as well. And then the ability to throw the ball to different receivers, and the way they've been able, their offensive line has given the quarterback time to throw the football. And Hayden Craig has shown his senior leadership ability here tonight. And I think they're a tough team to handle from a defensive standpoint. Now you flip it over to the defensive side, and there'll be some things that Coach Laws, I'm sure, will want to talk about, some pretty big plays and some things that happen on that side of the ball. But bottom line is you're going to get out of here with a win here, and then that's the key. They keep score, and you're going to end up with another big win. This is an important game we talked about at the outset as far as the Mountain Athletic Conference is concerned, and TC Robertson will have them on the 13th at Irwin.
Yes.
But Robertson is going to have both these teams at home this year, so it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, you have to like the way things have gone through the first part of the season there. We talk about this as always being a game that needs to go your way if you plan to have success in the Mountain Athletic Conference, and certainly this edition. Now looking as if it's going to go to Reynolds. Inside 90 seconds remaining. 2-score lead, and the Rockets on the seal it drive, if you will, as they continue to work their way deeper into Asheville territory. One more red zone chance. One more First Bank red zone look seems to be there for this AC Reynolds squad tonight. Now you will always wonder how deep the playoff run will be. Talked about Weddington a season ago, how things ended up being capped off for that 2022 campaign. What does 23 hold for Reynolds? Well, one thing it has held is another win in this rivalry matchup, now 49 seconds away for the Rockets.
Well, they're at home next week taking on Irwin. Then they go to Robertson, and then they've got McDowell at home. Their final games this year.
Well, it'll end in the First Bank red zone for the Rockets. A night when, again, they rolled up some pretty impressive offensive numbers in this second half. Saw it balance out a little more between the rushing attack, the passing attack. Obviously, the headliner from the 2 scores. Patterson, the running back, 15 carries, 158 yards, 2 touchdowns. Not a bad night. He's one of the key contributors for Coach Law's squad, as they will double up Asheville. A 28-14 win for the Rockets over the Cougars. They win the latest edition of this rivalry matchup from right here in downtown Asheville.
Yeah, I'll tell you, just a solid performance all the way around. We talked about the 6-5 game that Asheville won here 2 years ago. We talked about the 13-12 game the spring in 2021 that AC Reynolds was able to win. And I thought, what are the keys to get off to a good start here because of those 2 ball games? And they did, scored in their second and third possessions and grabbed a 14-0 lead. Entering the halftime, had a chance to get it up to 21-0, but a good job defensively to keep them out there late in the first half. And Asheville had opportunities that first drive, second half, and just couldn't get anything out of it. And then able to widen it out to 21-0 before you were able to get onto the scoreboard. But one thing about Asheville, they hung in there, a couple fourth down conversion on the late touchdown drive for them to get within 2 touchdowns at 28-14.
A couple of big defensive moments for Asheville, too. Kind of showed what this young team may be able to do moving forward. Tonight belongs to the Rockets. We'll break away, come back, hear from their head coach. We got the Bojangles Trophy presentation coming up in just a bit from Asheville. It is Reynolds tonight, the final 28-14 in the rivalry contest in the MAC. Well, 2 scores, the separation tonight, a 28-14 winner for AC Reynolds. It's time for the Bojangles Trophy presentation.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Jason. This is the Coach's Corner, brought to you by Carolina Furniture Concepts. Well, Coach, first thing is first, congratulations on a spectacular win. Tonight's game was billed as a great rivalry matchup, and your team has emerged victorious. How are you feeling right now, Coach?
I feel good we won. I mean, anytime you beat Asheville, at Asheville, which is a huge rivalry for us, and it's a huge conference game. I'm proud of these guys. I'm proud of the way they played, and I'm always proud to get a win here.
And speaking of the guys, Coach, from what you shared with me a few moments ago, you've been coaching for 28 years now, which is quite a remarkable achievement. It does beg the question, what inspires you all day, every day, season after season, to coach such an exceptional group of guys?
It's them. I mean, I love the kids. I love the kids at Reynolds. I love they're all different. Every year you get a different group, but they're still Reynolds kids. And I still love Friday nights. It's you can't beat it.
We do love Friday nights indeed. And Coach, speaking of Friday nights, as you know, we're now approaching the second half of the season at this point. For the remaining Friday night games, for a team that has such a storied reputation as y'all's with multiple conference championships, it does beg the important question, what can we look forward to from your boys for the next couple of weeks and even several weeks and beyond?
Just keep getting better. That's the plan from here on out. Just keep getting better.
I like your thought process, Coach. Well, once again, congratulations to you. Congratulations, team! Back to you, Tom. Back to you, Jason.
Well, Tom, he said he still loves Friday nights. Who doesn't, right? It's certainly another Friday night in the books that has left us with a number of memories of this rivalry. you think about the point totals compared to the last time we were in here for this rivalry, right? A lot more points scored tonight, most of them going the AC Reynolds direction. This was a game that AC Reynolds in many ways kind of held Asheville at arm's length, but a lot in front of both of these schools down the stretch in 23.
Well, we talked about how difficult the non-conference schedule was for both teams, and maybe not indicative of what the records were with the AC Reynolds at 3-3 and a 2-3 mark for Asheville. And Asheville hung in there, and even though they were down and fighting their way back, they continued with a very young team to do what they could offensively and to try to get back into the ball game. But Reynolds did what they needed to do. They got on top early, and they pretty much had control of this game and able to come away with a good win. And it sets the tone. You talked about the Mountain Athletic Conference. You talked about Robertson and the game coming up next week with Asheville headed that way. And this AC Reynolds team has got to go there as well. There are going to be some really big games down the stretch in this 3A, 4A conference.
This was one. Anytime these two teams get together, you heard Coach Laws say it, you can pick up a win on your rival's home field. You've accomplished something. They did just that. 28 points on the board and a win over the Cougars of Asheville for the Rockets. And AC Reynolds keeps on rolling. We will see you from Spartanburg County next week. We've got the Gaffney Indians, the Spartanburg Vikings on the next edition of Bojangles Friday Night Rivals.